Good morning. Good morning to all my wealth people. It's going to be a beautiful day. Let's go. You can't get it done the first time, try again. And again till you get a win. Take a second there. Get your second win. Never slowing down. You ain't settling. You a boss in the making. You a big deal. Supersize your dream. Now that's a big real. Let them know you ain't the one that we slept on. Stepped over, left out, crept on. I'm gonna give you what my elders told me. Hold your head high, soon to be an OG. A cold piece dropping gems for no fee. Only wanna see you at your best. So show me. Sunday, gonna wear my way, gonna wear my way, my way, my way. Right the way, 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 right the way. Up and down, see life is like a seesaw. Going under that, I never be dog. Never give up, never lean off. So shiny they can't knock the sheet off. Ain't nothing to lose, all odds against us. Why they try to convince us we ain't much, but we everything, and we everywhere. Doing all of it well, yeah, then we out of it. Number 1, 2, 3, whatever we do, kill it when we move, kill it when we move. Even when there's still room left to improve, we kill it when we move, kill it when we move. Gonna wear my way, gonna wear my way, my way, my way. Ride the way, 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 ride the way. Why I'm always laughing and how they never seem to catch me when some may think it's not real, and I know that I'm not feeling so sure. So I wrote this song to tell you about someone I am familiar with. So I tell them that it's you. You're the reason why I smile. You pick me up when I am low. That's what you do when you're a child. There's so much that I can say. Good morning. About the man I'm feeling too. I'm saying straight again, and put the song in, try your mind. So I tell them that it's you. You're the reason why I smoke. That's what you get when you're stressed. So much that I can say. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard the kind of blessings that's about to fall on me. Woo! Victory is here. Kick the feet out the door. God's doing a new thing. Yeah. Get ready for overflow. 'Cause I'm getting ready. Prophesy over your life, say, oh, something like you. See, I'm getting ready. Oh, something I've never seen. Say it again, I'm getting ready. Something I've never seen. Let's say it together. See, eyes haven't seen. Come on, say it. And ears haven't heard. What? Kind of blessing, yeah. Kind of blessing that's about to fall on me. Say victory is here. Victory is here. It kicks the feet out the door. God's doing a new thing. Get ready. Get ready. You throw your hands up, say, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. Something I've never seen. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. God's about to blow my mind. Something I've seen. Say, I'm getting ready. Something I've never seen. Bigger than I can imagine. Something I've never seen. Yeah. Hey, yo, beach house vibes maneuver the jet ski. Cause I serve a God that parted the Red Sea. Multi-million-dollar commercials for Pepsi. From food stamps to more ice than Gretzky. I don't gotta talk, the Lord defends me. I watch them all fall for going against me. Cause me and all my angels shot the devil up. While he was trying to pull me down, I leveled up. I leveled up twice, I leveled up 3 times. He tapped them and told them she's mine. So even when I cried, I knew I'd be fine. Prepare for a miracle blessing in these times. I praise him. That's the only song we sing. That's the only thing life seems to bring. Tonight, we all do our best few speak of. Red grandma was great on love. Yeah, feeling the love. Yeah, taking God's back. Inside control. Too many broken bones, you know. It's hard, y'all. And it's all that I take to God, y'all. Each other now. Oh, yes, it's you. You rather now. Hold on. Don't let go. See it goes. Of that heavy love. You can't move it. You can't shake it. You can't beat it. You can't take it. It's unchanged. Woo! It ain't changed. Heavy love. So much power. So much faith. It's love. So amazing. It ain't great. Heavy love. We're living in a world where fathers and daughters, fathers and sons, coming up together as one. Yeah, in a place with people who know that they need one another. Learning to fall in love. Yeah, but staying long. Yeah, taking love. At times when you hurt the worst, that's when it feels the best. Yeah, that's when it matters the most. Yeah, so find your love, find your friend, tell them all you know that you need them. Never knows, oh, that heavy love, you can't move it, you can't shake it, you can't beat it, you can't take it, it's unchanged. Heavy love, it ain't changed. Heavy love is so much power, so much patience, it's love, so amazing, it ain't over. Heavy love, it ain't broken, heavy love. Talking about that, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years old, that's the power. Heavy love, so much power. Heavy love, I'm talking about that. I gotta have you, oh Lord, I gotta have you. I gotta have you, I gotta have you, I gotta have you, I gotta have you. Oh Lord, yeah, you make me as happy as I can be. Your love is a guarantee. In a world of changes, you and I together stay on my mind. You are the truth and the light. There's no other way. I gotta have you. I gotta have you. I gotta have you. I gotta have you. Oh Lord, I gotta have you. 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 Oh Lord, gotta have you. Looking up, you turn my world inside out. I'm loving what you're about. You are my faith, I'm so in. You pick my life up again. You still became my best friend. Yeah, now every day I gotta have you. I gotta have you. I gotta have you. I gotta have you. Oh Lord, I gotta have you. 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 Oh Lord, gotta have you. Brothers and sisters, I want to welcome you back to life. Back to the one that can make your next chapter look easy like your best chapter rock. Hallelujah. How can it be that you love the most unlovable part of me? How could you see your life was the only gift that was for me to be free? It's amazing. I'm waiting I do. Everything's working for my good. Hey, come on. He says it. He wants my love. You are the one superhero. No way. It's not hard. All I do is make you proud. Nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. You say it. Hey. Every one of my secrets that you keep. You cover me. You cover me. I appreciate it. It's amazing. Your patience with me that will never leave. You don't give up on me. Don't ever leave. Help me to see like you, no matter what you do, everything's working for my good. Let me tell you what God is. And you will. Hallelujah. You are what's it for you? And I promise you, this will make you proud. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I started starting over. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. And the church saying, come on. Jesus loving you. It sounds great to know that. That's how it's supposed to be. Let me tell you what it means. Oh, that's for me. That's why. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I really mean it this time. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. I don't wanna love nobody but you. Well, he's on my way. Gave me grace and strength just to see another day. And with each new day, and new mercies I see. I'm telling you, that's what the Lord has done for me. So many ways that you made. I thank you, Jesus. Keep me day by day. I wanna say thank you, Jesus. Thank you, just thank you, Jesus. For love being my full supply. Thank you, Jesus. Me, you, I can't tell you, can't tell you. That's how good he is. And when I think of the blessings, I have no choice. Tell him what I want. Call him up and tell him exactly what I want. Yeah, I'm not gonna ask you. I'm trusting what I want. Wanna get him on the line, why don't you get what you want? Woo! Anybody else wanna talk to the master? Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, I wanna say no. Thank you, Jesus. Somebody's waving their hand just to say Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you all day. Thank you, Jesus. He's done so much for me. I can't tell you, Lord. I'm able to tell you, Lord. That's how good he is. Thank you, Lord. It's not like you can help me. I have no choice. He's gonna get my I'll take the blessings. And no choice, no choice. Ooh, Johnny, if I had to, that's right. Jesus, still with me enough to tell you, thank you, Jesus. And the message that you give, here we go now, thank you, Jesus. That's what I will say. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. When I go out to my coming in, I want to say thank you. You have come this way. Right check. Keep move up. Never came down. Chris met the king. Aaliyah Smith full page back. Forgetting the crack you never get him. Paul Walker from the place. And just like Nate Dogg, the pretty Lord, that I'm a dog for heaven come. But you battles pass and it feels like window seat to the top. I wanna see my angel on my side. Then it feels just like feels like oh, right check. We're walking. Chris met the king. Aaliyah Smith full page back. Getting the crack, you never get him. Paul Walker found it behind the plate. And just like Nate Dogg, the pretty Lord, my dog's good. Whether you working 9 to 5 or you trying to stay alive, home just sort of feels like we in the pen, got no ink in this pen, what collect from feel like. Gotta cut him down on a bell in the ground. Lord, hell, the crowd, you said for more. They trying to sell you the cool, they trying to sell you these lies, they trying to sell you the song, they trying to sell you the sky. Woo! Bottles, top, and it feel like window seat to the top. I wanna see my angel so much side. Man, it feels just like, feel like Muhammad Ali had a match made in heaven. Baby boy met the good rabbit. I hear it's West Nile. Have a wonderful wealth experience. We'll be back.
Hey everybody, it's a victory day. Thanks so very much to the hip hop sisters, my good friend Dr. Lynn Richardson. Happy birthday. Let me make sure everybody can hear me. Faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. Let me know you guys can hear me. All right, okay, let me know you guys can hear me. Faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. So it's not so much to see me, but rather it's to hear me. All right, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. All right, and I want to give a shout out to Dr. Lynn Richardson. We celebrate you as you had your birthday on yesterday, and also want to shout out to one of the baddest hip hop sister on the planet, my girl MC Light. God bless you. I know your birthday is coming up on October the 11th. So sandwich between Dr. Lynn Richardson, whose birthday was the 2nd, which is also Cam and Chloe's birthday, and MC Light on the 11th. Guess what? My birthday is October the 8th. So you guys got some three of the baddest sisters on the planet. But I'm so glad to be a part of this virtual experience with the Hip Hop Foundation Be Sisters Beyond 2020. And I just want to share a word that the Lord has given me for all of you who are tuning in or checking in, and it's found in 2 Kings chapter 8, 2 Kings chapter 8, 2 Kings chapter 8, 2 Kings chapter 8. I can't read all of it, but you can read it when you get a chance. In 2 Kings chapter 8, it says, now Elijah spoke. All right, Elijah spoke. It says, now Elisha spoke to the woman whose son had been restored to life, saying, arise and go with your household and sojourn wherever you can sojourn, for the Lord has called for a famine, and it will even come on the land for 7 years. So the woman arose and did according to the word of the man of God, and she went with her household and sojourned. And at the end of the 7 years, the woman returned from the land of the Philistine, and she went out and appealed to the king for her house and for her field. All right, and then drop all the way down to verse number 9. When the king asked the woman, she related it to him. So the king appointed to her a certain officer, saying, restore all that was hers. Okay, I got 3 hours right there. I want y'all to give it back to me. In verse number 1, it's restored or resurrect. Okay, restored, release. All right, put releases. Resurrected, restore, and release. Resurrect, restore, and release. Now, ladies, holler at me if you're there. Let me make sure you can hear me. If you're anything like me, I love good music. And one of the music that I love is Rihanna. One of my favorite artists is Rihanna. Don't tell anybody, but I love me some Rihanna. Anybody love Rihanna? Give me a thumbs up. Give me something. I love Rihanna. And Rihanna had a song that came out, I don't know, a couple of years ago. Rihanna had a song that came a couple of years ago, and I can't use the word because I think we're streaming and people might be offended, but the song said, Rihanna had a song that started with the letter B, Dr. Lynn Richardson, but the end of it says, you better bring me my money. You better bring me my money. What did I say? Yeah, just put the word B, and then the rest of it said, you better bring me my money. Bring me my money. Go ahead, put it in there. I know I'm talking to church folks, so y'all can't put the word be in there, but Rihanna had a song that is entitled, you better bring me my money. And I thought about this as we focusing on this wealth conference and this wealth gathering with wealthy women. And I love Second Kings because if you know anything about Second Kings, Dr. Lynn Richardson, you know that this is the woman in Second King who Elijah rather had sought or raised her son. Her son was dead. Her son was first dead, and he resurrected her son. He restored her son back to life. And then the man of God comes to her one more time, and he says to her, he said, there's going to be a land, going to be a famine in the land. There's going to be a chaos in the land. There's going to be a shortage in the land. There's going to be a lack in the land. But don't you panic, because God has a plan. Oh my goodness. Don't you panic, because God has a plan. There is going to be shortage in the land. There's going to be a lack in the land. But don't you panic, because God has a plan. And the plan that God gives the man of God to give the woman during this famine or during this recession is that you may have to bust a move. Give it back to me. You may have to bust a move. That if you are going to survive in 2020, if you're going to survive beyond 2020, you're going to have to do what you've never done before, so you can see what you've never seen before, so you can have what you never had before. You are going to have to bust a move. He says to her, you may have to relocate. Am I talking to anybody? You may have to relocate. You're going to have to bust a move, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Somebody needs to bust a move before this year is over. The man of God says to the woman of God, there is going to be a famine in the land. And when you walk with God, Dr. Lynn and MC, God is going to give you some pre-advanced warning. My God, give it back to me. Pre-advanced warning. He's going to give you a heads up. He's going to give you a warning of something that is coming. He tells the woman of God that there is going to be a famine in the land. There's going to be a recession in the land. There is going to be a lack in the land. But don't you panic, because God has a plan. And part of the plan is that you are going to have to relocate. You are going to have to bust a move. You're going to have to do what you've never done before, so you can see what you've never seen before, so you can have what you never had before. And sure enough, the woman bust a move, and she ended up hanging out behind enemy lines. My God, she ended up hanging out behind enemy lines. She ended up in a place. She is now behind enemy lines, and she stays there for 7 years. Would y'all give it back to me so I know y'all can hear me? She stays there for how long? She stays there for 7 years. Not 1 year, not 2 years. She stays there for how long? She stays there for at least 7 years. Now, 7 is not a literal number. It just means figuratively she stays there until the famine was complete. And Dr. Lynn, she stays there for 7 years. And after 7 years, she goes back to get what she left. She goes back to get what she left. For 7 years, she has been gone, and the land and the money has been sitting there. And what amazes me is while she is away from the land, while she's away from her home, somebody else is profiting from her belonging. Oh my God. Somebody else is profiting from her belonging. Can I ask anybody, and I need you to give me some feedback in the comments, aren't you tired of other people profiting on your stuff? Hello, somebody. Give me a high, give me a heart, or give me a hands up, or give me, aren't you tired? That's bad English, but good theology. Aren't you tired that everybody is profiting? Everybody is profiting during this COVID-19, but you. Everybody is getting a profit, but you. Everybody is getting promotion, but you. Everybody is getting an increase, but you. But I've come on the Hip Hop Sister platform with Dr. Lynn Richardson and MC Light and all the speakers to say, in the words of Rihanna, you better bring me my money. Come on, put it back. I can't use the B. I want to say, you better bring me my B, you better bring me my money. The woman had been gone for 7 years. For 7 years, she was in a famine. For 7 years, she's experiencing a lack. For 7 years, other people are benefiting from her. And you know what is so powerful about this text? And y'all got to read it when you get them. Even when she is far away, somebody is talking about her. Who am I talking to? Even when she is far away, somebody is talking about you. Hey, somebody is talking about you. God is allowing somebody to speak good things about you. In fact, when you read this story, the king begins to have a conversation with Elisha, and Elisha begins to tell him about this woman. He tells him about this woman whose son, number one, was resurrected. He tells him about this woman whose whose son was resurrected. I don't know who I'm speaking to, but God is about to resurrect some stuff that's been dead in your life. A marriage is about to be resurrected. A ministry is about to be resurrected. A book is about to be resurrected. Something in your life that's been dead is about to be resurrected. My God, who am I talking to right here? The man of God begins to talk about her, and the Bible said as he begins to talk to the king about her, that the woman showed up. I need 1,000 of you women to put in the chat, it's time for me to show up. Come on, put it in the chat. It's time for me to show up. Put it in the chat. It's time for me to show up. My goodness, it's time for you to show up. It's time for you to show up. It's time for you. Put it in the chat. Let me see it. It's time for you to show up. It's time for me to show up. It's time for me to show up. But not only are you going to show up, you're about to show out. Ooh, oh, Dr. Lynn Richardson, you talk about the fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter is not the time for you just to show up. It's the time for you to show out. The fourth quarter is not for you to slide into December. It's for you to turn up the volume. And the Bible said, I'm in 2 Kings. Y'all better read this thing. I'm in 2 Kings chapter 8. She goes before the king and she says to the king, please relate to me all. She said, please release to me everything that belongs to me. My God, I moved from resurrection and now I'm about to talk about release. I said, I moved from resurrection and now I'm about to talk about release. Can somebody put it in the chat? Release, release, release. Put it in the chat. Release, release, release. Hey, whatever has been held up for us for the last 7 years, for the last decade, I declare and decree it is about to be released for every woman. Hello, somebody. This is a season where God is about to release some amazing thing in your life. Now, Dr. Lynn, I know you are a strategist. So I do know that you are having the hip hop conference, this gathering, this wealth experience on one of the most powerful times in Jewish culture. On yesterday, on your birthday, began the Feast of the Tabernacle. Give it back to me. On your birthday, on yesterday, began the Feast of the Tabernacle. Give it back to me. On your day, on your birthday, began the Feast of the Tabernacle. And the Feast of the Tabernacle, it starts on October the 2nd on Dr. Lynn Richardson and Cameron Chloe's birthday, our twin, and it ends on the 9th. It starts on the 2nd and it ends on the 9th. And on the Feast of Tabernacle, God promises not to bless individual, but to bless families. My God. I said, God promises not to bless individuals, but to bless family. In other words, God is about to release some stuff that's been held up for you. Who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? That God is about to release some stuff that is held up for you, but you got to ask for it. Ooh, you got to ask for it. I wish I had Rihanna here today. I wish I had Beyonce here today. But I got MC Light. That's all I need. Because look what it said. It said, so the king appointed for her a certain officer. Here's the last hour that said, restore Oh, y'all didn't catch that. Y'all didn't catch that. He said, restore unto her everything. Oh, y'all got to read your Bible. Restore all that was hers and all the produce of the field from the day that she left the land even until now. Oh, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Listen, what's the last word? It's not just release, but also restore. Give it to me. My time is about to be up. I moved from resurrection. I moved to release, but now I'd say restore. Everybody say restore, restore. He said, I want you to restore to her all that is hers, all the produce of the field from the day that she had left the land even until now. I don't know how y'all do it, but listen, I move from resurrection, I move from release, I deal with restore, but can I drop you on my last hour and then I'll bid you farewell? First, I talk about resurrection, I talk about, come on now, I talk about release, I talk about restore, and then can I give you on the last hour, and then I'm going to drop the mic and turn it back over to Dr. Lynn Richardson, and the last hour is restitution. Oh my God, did y'all catch that? Would you give it back to me? What did I say? Restitution, Lord, resurrection, release, restore, restitution. Oh my God, give it back to me. I got to move on. I said resurrection, release, restore, and give it back to me. Restitution. Oh, y'all gotta catch this thing. I hope y'all getting this. You gotta catch it, Dr. Lynn. It's the last verse in 2 Kings. He not only restore, but he says to her, give back to her, restore all that was hers and all the products of the field from the day she left the land even until now. Are you guys catching this? Are you catching this revelation? How long have we left Africa? How long? How long? My God. We're not asking to be restored. We're asking for restitution also. Another word for restitution. Get ready to give it back to me. We want back pay. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but somebody put it in the chat. We want back pay. Somebody put it in the chat. We want what? We want back pay. We don't just what is due to us today. We don't just want what is due to us this year, but we want what was owed to us. And I've come to prophesy to somebody that God is not just going to resurrect. He's not just going to release. He's not just going to restore, but my God, there is going to be a complete restitution. My goodness, we're going to get double for our trouble. And ladies, this is the season. The ladies at the World Conference, the ladies at the Hip Hop Conference, the ladies who are all over the platform, all over the world watching us, I've come to let you know that as we step into the last quarter of this year, it is not just a year of resurrection. It is not just a year of release. It is not just a year of restore, but my goodness, it is also going to be a year of restitution, that God is going to give it back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. B, you better bring me my money. God bless you. Thank you for having me. God bless you. Woo! Bring it, bring it.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, Dr. Jazz just absolutely killed it. And I am all pumped up. I am excited to be here. Thank you so much. Let me know that you can hear me. Drop some hearts in the comment. Let me know that you can hear me and that you can see me. Let me tell you, I'm just trying to gather myself because Dr. Jazz is about to have me running around his office that I'm sitting in. I am just so grateful. She is on fire. She has me pumped up, and no better time to be pumped up than Moving Beyond 2020, the Wealth Experience Meetup. This is our first virtual wealth experience, and I want to first start off with all the pleasantries so we can get that out the way. Thank you, Dr. Lynn Richardson, for this vision of the wealth experience. We have been on this journey for quite some time now. Thank you to MC Light and the Hip Hop Sisters Foundation and everyone who's made this event possible. Yvonne McNair and all the speakers and participants, thank you for being here. My name is Desiree Clay. I'm the Des of Des 360. I'm a master certified transformational coach and a trained speaker with John Maxwell. And I am going to talk to you about moving beyond 2020. I want to talk to you about moving beyond 2020. How can we exactly move beyond 2020? Well, guess what? Guess what? Dr. Jazz has already laid the blueprint, guys. We got to do some things differently. We got to show up differently in the world. We have to challenge ourselves. And the biggest thing, the first thing I want to address is the point that we have to move beyond fear. We have to move beyond fear. Now, before I get into all of my points, because Dr. Jazz has me on fire. Did I say that, guys? She has me on fire. I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I want to give you a little bit of background so that you can understand why I'm so pumped up and excited to be here with you to help you transform. Because guess what? I was my first client. I'm just a girl from the south side of Chicago who decided to go for it. I'm just a girl who was once homeless with her child in college who decided to go for it. I'm just a girl who showed up one day and decided to go for it because I no longer wanted to be in a state of lack. I wanted to move from lack to abundance. I wanted to have better. Guess what? I wanted better so much. I wanted better at some point in my life more than I wanted to breathe. If I take you back even further than that, back in high school, when I, pressed the easy button, how many of you have ever pressed the easy button on something in your life? You just wanted it to be easy. You wanted it to be, to go away, even if you could. I'm just a girl who once was prostituting herself. Don't look at me like that. I'm not the only one. And every time I say that, I get these little stares like, oh, really? She did that? Yes, I did. Let me help you out here. Prostitution is, in definition, is providing sexual services in hopes to get something back in financial gain. So guess what? When you're out there talking about, yeah, girl, paying my rent. Yeah, girl, I'm doing this and he taking care of my kids' tuition. Guess what? You too are prostituting yourself, okay? And so please don't let me be out here by myself and make me feel like I'm the only one who sold myself short in order to get what I wanted to have or what I thought I needed. And so here I was in high school, prostituting myself to get what I needed, pressing the easy button, having abortions, in abusive relationships all the way in high school, as early as high school, right? I come from a home where my grandmother was the pillar of my family. Yes, my biological mother was there, but my grandmother raised me, okay? And then I had someone come into my life, an angel who is what I called her, who gave me life, right? So she polished me. Again, I grew up inner city Chicago on the south side, hood, where the only possibility I saw was either to show up as I've seen everybody else in my neighborhood show up, meaning I'm gonna end up, a single mom, a teen mom, on drugs, or stuck in a place. And so one day I just decided that I wanted more and I went for it. I graduated from high school, barely. I talk about that in my book. You'll have to read the book. As a matter of fact, if you are paid registrant today, you have access to get that download. And I go really in detail about that. I was molested in kindergarten. Y'all, I have been through some stuff. So surviving a pandemic is nothing to me. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has survived some stuff in their life. And the only reason why I was able to survive all of those things is because guess what? I decided to look past fear. I gave up fear and I exchanged it for hope. And just so you'll know me, you'll see me looking at my notes because I like to talk about what I like to talk about, okay? And so I like to respect our time and I want to be on target and on task. So you'll see me gesturing and looking down at my notes, but take out some pen and paper, guys. This is going to be serious. I need you to move beyond fear to hope, okay? And what does that mean? So that means that if you want to show up in your life, if you want to get the restitution that's due to you, if you want everything, your back pay, if you want that bee to bring you your money, you can't be scared. You got to show up every day like it already belongs to you and it is yours. And in order to do that, you got to guard your perspective. Now, yes, I'm a transformation coach and I believe that everything starts in your mind, guys. We can sit here and talk to you and give you tips until you're blue and black in the face, until we're blue and black in the face. But guess what? We need you to shift your mindset. Okay, we need you to master your mindset. And so I need you to understand that your perspective is what leads you and what guides you. You can want $1 million, but guess what? It's not showing up until your mindset says it's going to show up. And so if you're with me and if you can attest to any of this, make sure you're dropping, give me some feedback, talk back. I like to talk to the guests that I'm speaking to and the people I'm speaking to. So let me know that I'm not by myself. How many of you need a shift in your mindset? You started out 2020 with your vision board. It was really pretty. You had all these goals that you wanted to reach. You had all these things that you wanted to obtain. And then at some point you got scared. March came around and COVID-19 showed up. And so now you felt like the world was about to end. And guess what? As a matter of fact, hashtags were trending all over social media. Throw away 2020. 2020 is over. But how many of you know it's all in your mind? And so here's the difference between someone with a unstable or a mindset that needs to be stronger, a mindset that needs to be shifted. If you are operating in fear, you will never have what you want. So in order to move from fear to hope, you need to understand that you have to take advantage of this crisis. How do we move beyond this crisis? How do we transform out of the pandemic? You have to transform your mind first. You have to take advantage of this crisis, okay? You have to create opportunities. So while you were sitting around, guess what? The millionaires were getting richer. People that wanted to start businesses were starting businesses. Dr. Lynn Richardson has, I don't know how many students in her class. Guess what she was teaching them to do? To get their money straight, to get their dollars straight, to get their businesses straight, right? Okay, so that's what you have to do. You have to create opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden, right? So this is not an opportunity, or this is not a time during a pandemic to sit back and wait for the perfect time. Now is the perfect time to do anything that you wanted to do, because now you have nothing but time. You have nothing but time. You have nothing but time. The world is at a very slow pace. It is moving at a very slow pace. I believe that it is by design that God has given us the time to acquire those things in which we have been praying for, to acquire those things in which we have been wanting all of this time. Now is the time to sit down with your plan, but you have to shift your mindset first. You have to be able to see it. You have to be able to see it. If I were to show you a picture of a tiger without showing his face, just his stripes, you would know that it was a tiger by his stripes. So how do people see you? How do you see the world right now? Shift your mindset. You have to know what you see. You have to know the perspective in which you're coming from, and that should be the one of hope and not of fear, okay? So here's the thing you need to know. Here are 3 main advantages that can happen right now during a pandemic, okay? The first thing is, during a pandemic and times like this, when you're suffering from uncertainty in the world, has been a change, a balance in risk and reward. So what does that mean? The status quo is no longer the status quo. Anything goes right now. You have the opportunity that you have never had before. There are no downsides. Guess what? The people that are wise in this season are taking advantage of every opportunity that comes this way. For example, the Wealth Experience. We normally meet up twice a year in person, right? We could have said, oh, well, we have to wait till next year and see what happens. But guess what we're doing? We're here in a virtual space because we have to take advantage of the opportunities that we have. There is no reward without taking a risk. So if you want the reward, what risk are you willing to take? What are you willing to do in order to get what you want to have? Are you willing to sit for 7 years and then go back and get what's due to you? Are you willing to do some things that you've never done before? There is no risk, no reward without your risk, okay? So here we go. Increase your focus. Let me tell you, I have some clients that are all over the place. I'm coaching them and they come to me one week. They want to build a business, right? A brick and mortar. Then they come back the next week and they want to have a daycare at their house. And then they come back another week and they want to sell feminine products for women, body butters and all of this. Then I talk to them the next week and they want to be a motivational speaker. I need you to focus. Everybody in the comments right now, I want you to put the word focus, focus, focus. I need you to focus. What is it that you really want? What is it that you really want? And if I had time, and I know I'm here with you for quite some time, but I want to make sure I'm on time, on target, on task. So I'm not going to even get right into this whole focus piece. But I need you to focus, focus, focus. Focus enables you to eliminate the distractions, right? It enables you to eliminate distractions. Not only will you eliminate distractions, but it's going to allow you to push towards your goal. It's going to allow you to push towards your goal. So if we're going to move beyond this pandemic and we're going to transform out of the pandemic, we're going to have to focus. I want you to write in the comments one thing you need to focus on. I want you to write in the comments. Some of us need to focus on our family more. Some of us need to focus on our finances more. Some of us need to focus on matters of the heart more. Yeah, I said it matters of the heart because some of you are just evil and you need to get your heart right. Okay, you need to get your heart right. Some of us need to focus on our limited thinking, our lack mindset, right? We believe that we can only have what has been told that we can have, or we only want what the world tells us that we want. Social media is a great thing. This whole space right now is amazing. But let me tell you, you got to be careful. You got to make sure that even when you're on social media, even when you're watching the news and all of those other areas that come into our life via streaming, you have to make sure that you are focused on what belongs to you and what you are focused on. So if you're saying that someone should have, you should have what Cardi B has. Why? Who gave you that thought? Where did that come from? Why do you feel like you have to have what the world told you should have? I need you to get focused on what it is that God has presented to you. What visions have he given to you? What is it that you're supposed to create and produce and put out into the world? How are you supposed to show up? I need you to get focused on that and tell me in the comments what it is you need to focus on, okay? Some of us need to focus on our children more. What is it that you need to focus on? Maybe you need to go back to school. Maybe you need to pick up that journal. You know, that journal you started back in January 2020. Some of us have a journal we started back in January 2019. And guess what? You still ain't picked it back up. You wrote down the idea. You wrote down the title of the book and you haven't picked it back up yet. You need to get focused. Focus. Here's the third thing. This is another advantage of taking advantage of a crisis. This is another idea, another concept. You want to identify who you are as a leader. Guess what? Because all leaders step up when it's time to step up. Now, I'm not talking about titles. Anybody can have a title. You could be whatever you want to be. Give yourself a title. I don't know, the CEO of your life. How about that? How about become the CEO of your life? How about you become the president of your life? Okay, so if you need a title, there you go. There's your title. But leaders are able to step up and lead others who are afraid to act. How many of you know some of our greatest leaders are dropping the ball? This isn't politics, so we're not going to go there. But some of our greatest leaders are dropping the ball because they have a title without true leadership ability. They have a title without the ability to lead and without the skill set and the heart of leadership. So right now, during this pandemic, this is the time for you to really show up and show who you are. Who are you? You are in the middle of a pandemic. When this is all over, when we transform out of the pandemic, who will you be? Will you look back at 2020 when we're in 21 and say that was a total waste of year? I don't know. That's for you to decide. But if you're going to sit here and wait for things to get better, then you will be waiting a long time because guess what? The status quo has been challenged. It does not exist. The new normal, we will never be back to normal. Not to say that we were ever normal in the first place, okay? So now is the time to create whatever it is that you want. Now, the thing you need to know about leadership and leaders, remember, we're not talking about titles. We're talking about the heart. We're talking about the gumption of a leader. We're talking about the person who has the desire to make things better. We're talking about someone who shows up when everyone else is sitting down or stepping back. Okay, so guess what? Leaders never let crisis go to waste. Write that down. That's tweetable, right? That's tweetable. Leaders never let crisis go to waste. You see all these people around you. Drop in the comments. Leaders never let crises go to waste. Do not waste this time. Do not waste this time. Guess what? March 2020, when I thought about DAS 360 and my brand and my company, I had to say, what's happening? Everything that I had been building that I thought I was going to do had been shifted. I had to shift. And we've been hearing the word pivot. So if you want to use pivot, we can use pivot, right? So I had to pivot once again. I launched my business back in 2019. As you all know, most of you know me as the executive vice president for Hip Hop Sisters Foundation. You know me as Lynn and Light's little protege, things like that. But God was calling me to do more. I could no longer be silent. I could no longer sit back and not do what God had called me to do. So I came out. I had a coming out party 2019, still not fully understanding God's vision for this. So here I am. Now it's 1 year later. I'm trying to elevate. I have invested thousands upon thousands of dollars in my professional development and my personal development in order to be able to add value to myself so I can add value to you in this type of a forum, in this type of a setting, right? And so now the pandemic is here. So here I am. I've invested all this money, all this time with babies in the house, with a husband in the house, okay? Y'all, I'm tired. And then here come the pandemic, March 2020. Guess what? I could have quit right then. But guess what I had to say to myself? Instead, I birthed the brand, Push Past Your Quit. PPYQ, because that's what I had to say to myself on a daily basis while I was nursing, trying to keep my 15-year-old daughter safe and her mind stable because she wants to go back to school. Like real life is happening, right? We didn't know what was happening. We were sitting here not knowing if some of us were going to survive. We didn't know what was going to happen, but I have to shift my mindset. That's when the leader in me rose up. I had to bring hope. I knew that God said to me, this is your time and season. I don't care if one person is listening, 100, 1,000 people are listening. If you can impact the lives of one other person, then this is a season for you. So I'm going to say that to you. If you can impact the lives of one other person, that person may have to start with you. If you need to start with yourself, guys, today is the day. If you have been waiting on a sign, here it is. Today is yourself. Welcome to the Wealth Experience Beyond 2020. It is the fourth quarter. Do not let the rest of this year go to waste. Do not go into 2021 with a wasted and a less lowly mindset. We have to get back on task, on target. We have to make sure that we are focused. So guess what? We've already established that we're all leaders in some way and that we all have to make some changes and things like that, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing we have to know about the pandemic. I'm taking you somewhere. Stay with me. In order for us to get to 2021, in order for us to do our fourth quarter planning, the key is to know where we are right now. See, it's simple. You know, when you get in your car, I live in Houston. I live in the city of Houston, and it's a lot of construction, and it is a lot of traffic. One day, I was driving to meet my husband on the other side of town, and I don't really drive that much. I'm a professional passenger, okay? How many professional passengers you've been spoiled by your husband or your significant other? I don't really have to drive anywhere. So this particular day, I was forced to drive because I'm going to meet him. He was already there. I get there, and guess what? I get there, and I'm trying to get there. I put the address in my GPS system, and it starts to send me on a detour. And I'm so confused. I'm like, what's going on? Because the last time I got on this highway, I knew exactly where I was going. I know the construction is going on, but I'm trying to get directly to where I'm trying to get to, right? How many of you ever just want to get in the car and get to where you want to get to, right? I know I'm not the only one, right? So I'm driving along, and I normally would veer to the right, but my GPS system was telling me to go left. So I'm a little nervous because sometimes those GPS systems, they don't really work. They don't really, keep up with what's going on. So if it's construction, it might have you off a little bit, right? How many of you have ever gotten lost using a GPS system? Raise your hand in the comments. I know I'm not the only one who gets lost even using a GPS system, right? My sense of direction is totally off. I get lost going everywhere. So I'm driving along, and I'm on a highway. And so I decided to go ahead and follow the route that the GPS system was giving me. I get there, and I'm on the path, and I see all the orange sign, detour, detour, detour. Y'all, I got lost. I got lost with a GPS system and all the signs. How many of you have ever got detoured from the detour? You got detoured from the detour, okay? Put that in the comments. Detoured from the detour. I got detoured from the detour. So now I'm in a state of panic because I don't know where I am. This is unfamiliar territory. Everywhere I'm driving, I don't recognize anything. Nothing looks familiar. Stay with me here. I'm driving along a highway that was once familiar to me. Nothing looks familiar. I am lost on the detour. I'm detoured from the detour. So I go around, and I'm still praying, and I reroute. My GPS is rerouting me. I follow the directions. And guess what, guys? I end up back on route, back on target, and on task with where the GPS was leading me to get to my husband. So though I got lost, I still ended up at my destination. But that's just like what we are experiencing right now in life. We are on a detour from the detour. We thought that we were going into 2020. In January 2020, we said that this was the year of vision, perfect vision, right? What I would like to add to that not only is this year the year of perfect vision, this is the year of perspective. How do you see things? I think that God wants us to course correct, wants the GPS system to reroute us, want us to get outside of what is familiar. Because how many of you know there is no growth in familiarity? If you are comfortable right now, you are probably not growing. If you are comfortable and complacent, you are probably not stretching yourself. So this year, I told you that story because I want you to understand that sometimes you have to get detoured from the detour. Sometimes there is no direct route to where you're trying to go. But God is saying if you take one step, then he'll show you the next one. So if you're someone like me, I wanted the whole plan laid out. And anyone who's listened to me, who knows me personally, knows that's how I am. I want the entire plan. I want to know where I'm going. GPS system, when I put in a direction, I want to be able to look at the route list and you tell me where I'm going. I don't want any detours. If there's anybody like that, go ahead and like that about me. If you're like that, go ahead and drop a comment and say, that's me. I want the full plan before I move. God is saying that's not what he's going to do. He doesn't owe that to you. He's saying by faith, you need to take the first step, and then he'll reveal the next one. Okay. So what I learned on that trip to go meet my husband is that, guess what? I arrived. That was the first thing I noticed. I made it. I made it. How many of you have made it out of some unfamiliar territories? How many of you, even in 2020, you have been affected by COVID-19? You have been affected by the racial injustices that we are experiencing across the world. Guess what, guys? We made it. You are here with me today. We've made it thus far. Though it may have been challenging, though you may have to reroute yourself, though you may have been lost on the detour, right? You're on the detour, got detour from the detour. Maybe you were even sick yourself. Maybe you've lost a loved one due to the COVID-19 and to the other things that, the effects of COVID-19. So guess what, guys? This is what I've learned. I made it. I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay too. You got to just get your focus. This is the second thing I learned. No one likes to be uncomfortable. No one likes to be uncomfortable. No one enjoys bad experiences. Put that in the comments. I don't like bad experiences. No one does. But guess what? It's those experiences that define who we become. So yes, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Who are you trying to become? You understand that becoming is ongoing. There is no one route. There is no direct path to becoming. You're going to constantly be detoured from the detour. Okay, there is no direct path to becoming. It is, in fact, a journey. It is not a destination. You're not going to wake up one day, write down this cute little plan in our journals and stuff, because I love journals. I love planners, and I write things down. But guess what? It doesn't always go like that. You got to pivot. So this is what you have in common with the other person in the chat. No one likes bad experiences, but it's what you become in the process. The second thing is this. Everyone has them and no one likes them. Everyone has bad experiences and no one likes them, but they're part of everyone's journey. We don't like them. It's a part of your journey. What are you going to do with the information you're gathering along the way? How are you going to use this information as a stepping stone? How are you going to use these experiences as a stepping stone in order to get what you're trying to get and become who you're trying to become? This is the third thing I learned. Few people make bad experiences positive experiences. So most of the time when we're going through something negative and we're having a bad experience, right? We life is, bah humbug. Life is less than best. Life is not showing up the way that we want life to show up. Guess what we do? Sometimes we quit, we give up, we drop the ball. We decide to change the whole plan and the goal instead of changing the plan, right? But this is what sets apart the winners from those who have to continue to repeat the same processes only over and over again. It is the person who is able to make a bad experience positive. It is the person who is able to make a bad experience positive that thrives in life. I'm going to say that again. It is the person who makes bad experiences positive who thrives in life. So what does that have to do with the pandemic? Guys, this is not a fun experience. You do think we want to be doing wealth like this? No. We want to be hugging with you, hugging on you, loving on you, laughing with you. Okay? That's what we'd rather be doing. But guess what? We have to make sure that we are still making the best of the experience that we are having, because there are some things that are beyond our control. Guess what? One of those things is the pandemic. But here is something. Here's some good news. Here's some good news. Here's some things that you can do that is within your experience and within your ability. You can change your perspective. So how? The question was asked to me. They brought me here as their EVP and as a speaker and as a transformational coach. Well, Des, how can we transform out of the pandemic? You have to first transform your mind. In the comment section right now, I want you to put transform my mind. You have to transform your mind. You have to transform your mind. You have to shift your mindset. That is the only way you're going to transform out of the pandemic, because guess what? We can create plans 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 6 month, 3 month, 9 month, 20-year plans. But if your mind is still on day one, you're never going to make it to day 90. Let me help you again. You can make out whatever plans you want to make out. You can dream as much as you want to dream. You can envision it. You can write down the colors and the everything. You can write down the branding for it. But guess what? You have to shift your mindset. If your mindset is going to stay in 2020 and 2021, you can log off because we are here to ensure that your mindset is shifted and that you transform out of 2020 in order to make it into 2021 with a new perspective. A new perspective. So what have you been doing already in 2020? What have you been doing? How have you been showing up? I told you before that in order to get to 2021, in order to get to the location, in order for me to get to my husband, when you put an address in a GPS system, you put in the address, and then it asks you, are you starting from your current location? Let me tell you why that's important. If you don't know where you are currently, you're not going to be able to get to where you're going. If you don't know where you currently are, you're not going to be able to get to where you're going. So I'm saying that to you to say this. Take an assessment. I want you to write down this evening when you get a chance. It's the moment you log off, while this is fresh in your mind and in your heart and your spirit. I want you to write down where you currently are. So maybe you're in debt. I don't know. Maybe your finances are okay. Maybe you just want to improve upon them. Maybe your relationships need some work. Okay. That might be any kind of ship. I call them ships, all the ships, relationships, your husband with your companion, your wife, your friendships, your partnerships, your business ships, all the ships. Take an assessment. Where are you? Where are you on in your ships? Okay. Maybe those things need to be worked on. And then we need to make sure that we are also understanding where our heart is. I believe that everything is a matter of the heart. Everything is a matter of the heart. So do a heart check. I call them pulse checks. Do a pulse check. What's making your heart beat? What is it that every day you want to do, but for whatever reason you keep missing the mark? What is it? What is it? And then I want you to take an assessment about, I want you to determine what you're afraid of. Guess what? I'm going to ask you this question. You can put it in the chat if you feel like it. If you want to share out, that would be great. I love to engage the audience. So guess what? I'm going to invite you to share. What is your greatest fear? What keeps making you become stagnant? Why do you keep quitting? Why do you keep giving up on your dream? Some of us are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years old, and we're still holding on to an unmanifested dream. An unmanifested dream. Do you know how many people you're affecting outside of just yourself? Do you know that there are people waiting for you to show up so then they can show up? You are the leader. It's time for you to show up as the leader. It's time for you to show up as yourself, as the person on a journey, because guess what? There are people connected to you. There are people directly and indirectly connected to you. There are people watching you, waiting for you to make a move so they can have hope, that there's a future for them. I admonish you today, write down what's stopping you. Is it finances? Is it skill set? What is it? What's holding you back? Is it your family? Is it friends? Who's in your circle? What's holding you back? What's holding you back? Okay. You're afraid of failure. Well, let me ask you this. It's 2020. Okay. It's 2020. It is October 2020. If you're planning to live for the next year to October 2021, you're going to be living anyway. So why don't you be intentional about what you're going to do while you're living? Be intentional every day about because you're going to be living. Why not be intentional about what it is you're going to be doing while you're living? Why not be intentional about those things that are burning you up? You can't even sleep at night. Overcoming bad habits. I see some of you in the chat. Fears, that you will not succeed. Fear of failure. Guess what? If you don't do it, you won't succeed. Let me help you. Let me tell you something. Some people said they're afraid of failing. So what will you become? What will you become if you don't do it? What will you become if you don't do it? Ask yourself that. Because failure is a part of the process. I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm going to give you some tips. And I know that some of you feel like you don't even deserve it. Guess what? You are worthy. God says we're worthy. God says you're worthy. God calls us masterpieces, okay? He calls us master. You are worthy of everything that God says he has for you, okay? We are heirs to the throne. Okay, overcoming bad habits, all of those things, procrastination, self-sabotage. Guys, we got to get past it. So this is how we're going to do it. I want you to take out some paper if you haven't done it, because I'm going to go through these 5 tips. Let's see, I think I'm about 30 minutes in. Okay, how do we transition out of this? I'm going to give you your 5 tips. I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to give you some tangible tips. This is what I do to my community every Tuesday for Transformation Tuesday. I give you tangible tips that you can implement right away, because here's the thing. You have to be consistent. Consistency is what moves mountains, okay? Now, I don't expect you to do this in a day. I don't expect you to be able to implement these things in a day, okay? Guess what? I want you to put in the comments, think big, start small. Think big, start small. This is one of the biggest problems before I go into these tips. Everybody wants to have a high-rise building, 5 levels with 20,000 employees. But you have not even written down your plan. You have to think big and start small. Think big and start small. So what does that look like? How do we transition out of the pandemic? By shifting our mindset to think big and start small. Tip number 1, I want you to craft a vision. You're going to craft a vision, or vision cast is what I like to call it. So 2020, yes, 2020, perfect vision, okay? But it's about perspective. So what do you see? What do you see? If I were to, look at the state of the world right now, are we only going to see doom and gloom, or are we going to see opportunity? Because guess what? In the greatest challenges lie opportunity. So cast your vision. I want you to craft a vision. This step is important. Why? This step is important because it is the foundational step. Everything else builds upon this step. You have to be able to see it. So what I like to say is you have to think it, okay? Say it, and then seize it. In other words, you're going to see it. Now, I'm not just talking about with the natural eye, because some of us don't even have an example of what we want. We just know that we want it. This is something that God has placed deep on the inside of us. So we don't even have an example. We don't even have a prototype. But you have to be able to see it. See it with your natural eye and with your introspective eye, internally. What vision did God give you? What do you see? What have you been seeing since you were a child? Again, that unmanifested thing. See it, then say it. The Bible tells us that there's life and death in the power of the tongue. Okay? So what you say, you will be able to see. Okay? What you say, you will be able to see. Now, here's the other part about casting the vision. Okay? You have to say it. You have to see it, say it, then seize it. Open up your hands so that you can receive it. But oftentimes, our hands are so closed. We want to keep what we have so near and dear because we're so afraid that if I don't keep this, I may not get nothing else. So we keep our hands and our fists closed. But guess what you're doing? You are keeping the opportunity to get something away from you. You are blocking the opportunity to receive, because if your hands are closed, what are you going to get? So open your hands, give, and so that you can receive. The moment you start giving the world what it is you have to offer, the moment the world will start giving you what belongs to you. See it, say it, seize it. Drop that in the comments. See it, say it, seize it, okay? So cast your vision, okay? This will motivate you and help you to take action. If you write something down and it's near and dear to you, guess what? You're going to want to take action on that thing. You're going to want to take action. You exactly, in the comments, you can't receive with closed hands, okay? So you have to see it, say it, and then seize it, okay? This also helps in the negative self-talk, right? Let me tell y'all something. I do a transformational training. I have a group of ladies I'm doing a transformational training with, right? And the last session, we were talking about the law of the mirror. And the law of the mirror basically says the way you see yourself, what you say to yourself is the way that you see yourself, right? The way you show up in the world is important. And so what are you saying to yourself? I want to know what you're saying to yourself. We talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone else. It's almost like we have a tape recorder playing in our minds. Even when we don't answer now, the old folks when I was growing up, they would say, it's okay to talk to yourself as long as you don't answer. But sometimes I talk to myself and I answer. So I might be a little crazy. I don't know about you. But I talk sometimes and I answer. But that's another conversation. We'll talk about that part later. But the negative self-talk. What are you saying to yourself? When you have crafted your vision and you have written it down and made it absolutely plain, you know the colors that's connected to your brand, your business. You know what your child will become. You know the legacy that you're leaving for your kids, your family, your loved ones. When you see that thing nice and clear, your conversation in your mind should change. You should be able to start saying to yourself, I am worthy of what God has for me. I am doing the best I can do. I am able to make this work. I am able to accomplish this goal. The I am statements, the affirmations. Now, I know there's a lot of conversation about affirmations, and I know a lot of you believe, oh, that's just talk. Nobody does it. But guess what? How many of you know billionaires, multi-billionaires? The reason why they're at their status that they're at is because they simply believed self-talk. They simply believed that they could be there. They wake up every day knowing that they're going to remain at the status they're at or go higher. It's a belief system. What are you saying to yourself? Then I want you, after you have identified what you are saying to yourself, I want you to question that belief system. We're talking about mindset shifting here. We want to get out of this pandemic. We want to transform. We got to transform our mind to think big and start small. Here's a small tip. Identify where that belief system came from. Who gave it to you? Who told you that you were less than best? Who told you that you weren't worthy? Where did that come from? Was it your mother? Maybe it was your aunt. Maybe it was your Uncle Bobby. I don't know. Maybe it was your third grade teacher who told you weren't going to be nothing. Maybe it was your friend who was just joking but told you was dumb and stupid. Maybe it was your ex who told you was fat and ugly. Where did this come from? Where did it come from? And then I want you to counteract that thinking. So for every negative thought you have, here's some tips. I want you to write a counter statement for it. If they tell you you're not worthy, you say, I am worthy. If they told you that you didn't deserve it, say, I deserve it. Go ahead in the chat box and write an affirmation to yourself. Say something to yourself. What do you say to yourself? I am able to push past my quit. I am able to accomplish this goal. I'm able to show up great. And guess what? Some days you have to take it one moment at a time. You're going to have to say that thing to yourself several times on repeat, literally like a tape recorder until it sticks, until your brain understands that this is who I am. This is who I'm becoming. So tip number 1, again, is to cast your vision, craft your vision. Number 2, you're going to get clear on your why. Okay. Sometimes we want something because the world told us that we want it, right? So some of us don't really have a desire to be millionaires. We just want it because that's what the world says we should be. Some of us really don't want a mansion to live in. We just want it because guess what? That's what the world said we should have. That's what's put before us. That's what we see. That's what we see all around us. That's what's forced and pumped into us. Our ear gates and our eye gates. That's all we see, we hear, we talk about. Everyone wants to be a millionaire. Everyone wants to have a multi-million-dollar business, and everyone wants a mansion. But is that what you really want? And if it is, that's great. Not a problem. But why? Why do you want it? Why do you want it? Whose vision are you trying to manifest? Let me tell you, when I was in high school, I graduated, went on to Grambling State University. Shout out to HBCUs, right? And I got there and I didn't know what I wanted to major in. I really didn't know. I just knew I wanted to help people. I've always wanted to help people. I've always enjoyed helping people. So I get to Grambling and I start off as a math education major. Anyone who knows me, I'm laughing because I don't even like math. The only thing I want to do math for is to count my coins, okay? Count my money. That's all I wanted to use math for. But I started out as a math major. Why? Because my family influenced me and said, guess what? Math teachers make really good money because at the time, I was told I wanted to be a teacher too, right? And it's okay because people try to help you. They try to help you, get on your journey. But, you have to listen to what's in your heart. You have to that thing. Remember that heartbeat, okay? What's making your heart beat? So here I am at Grambling. I'm going to be a teacher, and I'm going to be a math teacher. No, changed my major after the first semester, okay? I was about to die. No, thank you. So then I changed my major, and I became a Spanish education major because I love Spanish. Un poquito español, right? Speak a little Spanish. Did that for a while. There was like, my heart. No heartbeat. So I graduated, long story short, in elementary education with my bachelor's degree, right? Then I still wasn't satisfied. So I went on to get my master's in counseling. I have plus 30 and more credentials, right? But I still wasn't there. And so when I think about this story, I always laugh because if I told y'all what I wanted to really be, y'all be like, well, how the heck did you become that? I actually really wanted to be, initially my first thought as a child was to be an attorney. I wanted to be an attorney. But then someone told me it's too much work. So I let that dream go. I wanted to be an attorney because I wanted to, fight for the rights of people. And then I wanted to be a chef as I got older. By the time I was in high school, I really enjoyed cooking and I really enjoy eating. Like my vision for my life includes being able to travel the world, eat good food and drink good coffee and have good wine. Can I just be transparent? That's part of my vision. Okay. I've written it down. It's real plain. That's what I want to do. Okay. So I'm saying, why do you want to do things you want to do? Is it because someone told you? So now, I'm older and I was a teacher. I did become a teacher. I did. And And so now I'm really doing what I want to do. I want to change the lives of girls and women. That's what I want to do right now. And that's what I'm doing. But why? Because I was once a girl. I was a little girl who was broken. I was a broken little girl. I had to endure the trauma from early childhood molestation. I had to deal with bad relationships that I had put myself in, making less than best decisions. These are, you know, it didn't matter where I moved. I was taking myself with me. And what I realized is that I was not the only grown woman with a broken girl living on the inside. And so that's a part of my mission, to help those women who still have those broken little girls on the inside transform their life. That's my why. You want to know a more personal why? Even personal than that, I have a girl child. She's 15, my daughter. I have a family. I don't want my family to, I want to leave a legacy and something worth having for my family. So what's your why? Why are you doing it? Okay. And then the third thing, create your plan. Because you can have a why all day. This is where most people fall short. You don't have a clear and concise plan. So, this is where I talk about SMART goals, because I know you've heard that term before. SMART goals, is a buzzword in the industry, especially in the education world and in the financial space. SMART goals, right? They need to be specific, measurable. They need to be achievable. They need to be realistic and time bound. Okay. And I know I went through those real fast, but they need to be smart. So in other words, can you actually create these things in order so that they are achievable? Yes, you can if you think big, start small. Some of us want to get a 4-year degree in 1 year and you've never taken a college course in your life. It's not a SMART goal. I've never seen it happen. Some of us want to, start a multi-million-dollar business and we don't even understand, basic P&Ls. How is that possible? You have to think big and start small. Put think big, start small in the comments. So creating your plans is what stands between your what and your why. The plan is the bridge between your what and your why. So if you want to get to something, you have to have your plan. You have to have your plan, okay? Create your plan. We're going to do some planning in the next session. I think Dr. Lynn and Ingrid and them are going to take you through some planning. It's so serious to me that I created a workbook, a quick little workbook. And I'm going to get you a download for it. As a matter of fact, I'll get you a download for it because some of you just need to understand what it looks like to make some real quick plans. And then the other thing while you're creating your plan is to ensure that your plan, you're not planning too many things at once. Sometimes you have too much going on. I tell my clients, start with one thing at a time. Because if you can't plan for one thing, how can I expect you to plan for 20? If you can't plan for one day, how can I expect you to plan for a year? You got to think big and start small. You got to think big and start small. And then the next thing is to develop a system. So you have a plan, you have your vision, you know your what, your why. Now you need a system. I operate my entire life on systems. I'm not even making it up. Everything I do is systemic. It is a system around it, okay? It's systematic. So what does that include? That also includes having your accountability. You got to have some people around you who's going to support you. I just made a post yesterday on social media, like you got to have a support system. Not people around you that are just sticking around because they hope you're going to make it, because it's going to benefit them. No, I'm talking about people who genuinely care for your well-being, who genuinely want you to achieve what it is you're seeking to achieve, your support system. So number one, craft your vision cast. Number two, you're going to get clear on your why. Number three, you're going to create your plan. Okay. Create your plan. Number four, develop a system. How long is it going to take you to do it? If you have children at home, how does that work? Now we're in this virtual space. A lot of us are having to homeschool. You're having to work from home. You have your husband or your significant other at home. You have a lot of stuff going on at home. What is the system? Because on days when it gets hard, you're going to have to rely on your system. The days you want to quit. Oh, and trust me, there will be a lot of days you want to quit. There will be a lot of days you want to quit. What is your system? Rely on your system. And then the fifth thing you want to do is allow yourself to fail. You want to allow yourself to fail. Failure means you're growing. You want to fail forward. So at least you're making progress. When you fail, and if it is a failure that is analyzed, right? So when you fail, don't just fail and just keep going. I want you to pause and see what went wrong. See, because a lot of times we say we failed and I tried and that's it. I want you to fail, but I don't want you to quit. It's okay to take a pause and step back, but don't quit. Okay, quitting means that I'm not coming back to this at all. I give up. It's going to be a dream deferred. It's going to be an unmanifested vision. I want you to to really think about why you're failing. Was it the system? Maybe it was a part of the support system. Maybe the plan needs to shift a little bit. Maybe your life has changed from the original plan. So maybe you need to alter the plan. Fail but not quit. Quitting means you're done. It means you tried to realize, your vision. You tried to make it come to pass, but you were unsuccessful and you're frustrated, and so you won't go back. But this is the worst kind of fate. Because what happens in 10 years when you're still living and you're still holding on to that dream in your heart, but it's unfulfilled? What happens? Who wants to live a life not worth living? I don't. Okay? Failing means you tried to accomplish some aspect of your vision or your dream and it didn't work. Okay? So with failing, it just simply means you have the opportunity to try again. It simply means you have the opportunity to give it another shot. You can reassess, reevaluate. Perhaps you need to bring someone in to help you. So those are my 5 tips. Now with the tips, I want you to know those are things that you can do right now today. Those are things you can start doing today in order to manifest your dream. But I want to caution you because there are some goal setting mistakes that we often make. We often make some mistakes, and some of the mistakes we make is we set our goals and our dreams based upon something we've done in the past. So in other words, you limit yourself to what you think your capability is, but you don't want to stretch yourself. You have to be able to be willing to grow and stretch yourself in order to get to a new level. If you're okay at the level you're at, then this message isn't for you. I'm talking about people who want to transform out of the pandemic, people who want to shift into 2020 with a new mindset. Stop basing your goals off what you've already accomplished. That's great. You've accomplished that already. What else can you accomplish? What else? What other power do you have on the inside of you? Okay. Then you only set goals based upon what you think you can do. So yeah, I always tell a story. My husband likes to run. He and his sister, they run miles. Matter of fact, he just ran 10 miles yesterday morning. He ran his 10 miles and I'm running 1 mile. Let me tell y'all, this whole thing is crazy because they running 10 miles, I'm running 1, right? That's fine because I'm setting the goal based upon, what I think I can do. Now, sometimes I really don't think I can run a mile. So I set it for a mile so that if I reach that goal, I've accomplished something great, a great feat. Okay. So I can run a mile now, but my time is like, if any runners out there, let me know. My time right now is like 15 minutes or something like that. That's not bad. I don't think 15 minutes for a mile, not bad. But my husband running 6-minute miles, right? I know comparison kills, but I use him as my example. So like if he's running 6-minute miles, surely I can get at least down to 10 minutes, right? So I'm saying that to say this. Don't limit yourself when you're setting these goals, when you're shifting into 2021, while you're sitting down in this 4th quarter to only what you think you can accomplish. Think big. Think big. I want you to think big, but we're creating your plan so you can start small, okay? So if you think I can make 5,000 easily, then go ahead and set your goal for a little higher. Go set for 10,000, double it up, okay? It'll challenge you a little bit. It'll make you work harder, okay? Then the other thing is you wonder if you're worthy of it. Okay, you wonder if you're worthy of what it is you've written on paper. Okay, you think the purpose is to have whatever it is you're supposed to have instead of growth, and that's what I keep wanting you to understand. This is a growth journey. Transformation is a growth journey. You're constantly evolving, or at least you should be, right? And so, yes, we want to accomplish that thing, but on your journey to fulfill your purpose, the purpose is also to grow. So don't lose sight of that. If you are growing, then you are in fact on your path. And it's okay not to achieve the goal necessarily when you didn't set it. So if you had a goal set for 3 months and it took you 4 months, it's okay. The point is you grew in the process. Are you growing in the process? Here's another mistake. You think you have to know everything. You don't have to know everything. I know so many people that get caught up on the how. You get caught up on the how. Let me tell you something. I don't know how I'm doing half the stuff I'm doing, but I figure it out as I go. And the good thing is I have people around me that know how to do the things that I don't know how to do. So what you simply need to do is have your vision and your plan. You have to have your goals set in place. Don't worry about the how right now. Be clear on your what and your why, and the how will show up. Be clear on your what and your why, and the how will show up. The other mistake that people also make is they feel like the how, right? The skill set has to come from within. No, outsource it. Guess what? Yvonne McNair is, over this event. She's producing this event because, yes, I'm the EVP of the organization and all of us have vast skill sets and we could do a whole lot of things, but I wouldn't be able to pull this off today. Let me just tell you, who would have been on a Zoom call? And Yvonne is probably laughing because that's what I told her. Girl, we're going to be on Zoom. Now, I know that is not an event platform, but I'm not an event producer. So that's what my mind, that's the limitation of my thought process. But how many of you know we knew Yvonne McNair and we could go to her? The how. I'm just using that as an example. The how. Why are you trying to figure it all out? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Think big and start small. Do what's in within your will, your means, your willpower, your skill set, and outsource the rest. Your how is not the end of the world, okay? And then the last thing, these systems is important because I want you to understand, I want you to put this in a comment. Order, then movement. Order, then movement. Let me tell you something. Order, then movement. Otherwise, there's chaos. Some of us want to move and you ain't got no order, no systems, no plan. And then it's chaos all around you and you're trying to figure out why nothing's working because it's chaos. It's chaos. Order, then movement. You have to be strategic. That doesn't mean you have to be a strategist, but you have to think through the process. Okay? Order, then movement. Here's the problem. People claim they want more, but then they settle for less. People claim they want more. They don't want to put in the work, and they settle for less. Oh, yeah, I want to make $20,000. I want my own business. I want a family, but then you settle to shack up with your boo. How you want to be married, but you shacking up with your boo? That's not going to work. Order, then movement. If you want more, go for more and don't settle for less. If you want great, you have to let go of good. Some of you are like, oh, I'm good. This is not for me. Well, you might be good, but if you want great, you have to let go of good. I used to say when I was in 8th grade, I'll never rest until my good is better and my better is best. What's your best? Are you producing your best? Be honest with yourself. Are you producing your best? Okay. Some other tidbits. Make sure you're not underestimating how long it's going to take you to do something. Because when you do that, you get demotivated. If it's a 4-year degree, plan to be there for at least 4 years. Don't put that pressure on you saying 3 years and you know you're not even capable of that. It's beyond your capacity. Because then you get demotivated when you're not reaching your target and you quit. Okay? You plan too long. Now, I know we're talking about planning, but stop. After you write down your plan, start doing something. This is where people mess up. They don't take action. Do something. The only way you're going to reach your goals is if you're doing something. I'm not interested in another planner, another journal that you have that's nice and cute. You wrote all this stuff down and you're not doing nothing. Compounded action over time. Compounded action over time with consistency creates what it is you're trying to create. Compounded action, the small things. If you're trying to build a business and you need to make some cold calls, make a couple calls a day. Compounded action over time. So I want to leave you with this because I know my time is just about up and we're going to go into Q&A. I want you to go as far as you can go. Here's why. When you go as far as you can go, when you get to that point, you'll see even more. So go as far as you can go so that even more can be revealed to you. Don't worry about the full plan. I want you to think big and start small. Don't worry about, how you're going to do it. Don't even worry about the people that you're going to have to need help with. You're going to need help from people. Don't even worry about that yet. So again, step number 1, if we're going to transform out of the pandemic, we got to shift our mindset. We have to shift our mindset. We're going to cast our vision. We're going to create. We're going to vision cast. What is it? That's the what, guys. What is it that you really want? You can do it, guys. What is it that you want? What is it that you want? What do you want? You can have it. What do you want? Let me tell y'all, I'm sitting over here right now sweating bullets. Why am I sweating bullets? Because it's a lot of pressure. I'm stretching myself. I'll play background as long as I can play background. I'm okay with that because I'm great at background. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm called to. This is this space. I'm stretching myself. I'm growing myself because I understand there are people that are connected to me that's waiting for me to do exactly what I'm doing. Vision Cast, this is your what? What are you going to do? How are you going to prepare yourself? You know, I had to invest, again, so much money and time into just understanding what I wanted and what that looked like, how I would show up. What is it that you want? What do you want? In the comments, tell me what you want. It doesn't even have to be financial. It doesn't even have to be tangible. Because at one point in my life, I just wanted peace. So that means I had to transform the people around me, the circle that I was in, the people I was connected to, the people I was on the phone with, the people I was texting. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? The next thing I want you to determine is, you're going to sit down and craft your plan. You're going to write your plan out. Write out your plan. Be very detailed. Be very specific. Write the vision and make it plain. That's what the Bible tells us. Make it plain. If I were to come and pick up your journal, your planner, could I run with it and help you execute? Think about it. If somebody showed today and said, let's get your business started. Let's get your whatever started. Could they help you? Is it written clearly? Do you even understand what you want and where you're going? Okay. And then get clear on your why. Why do you want it? Why do you want it? Why do you want this? Okay. Is it because it's something run on the inside? Is it because you want to leave something to your family, your kids? Is it something that you just always wanted to? Why? Why do you want it? Why? Okay. And then I want you to develop your systems. So if you're trying to lose weight, are you going to work out at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.? Are you doing 1 a days or 2 a days? Are you going to work out on your lunch breaks? Are you going to meal prep? Are you going to cook the food yourself, or are you going to outsource that and hire somebody to cook your food? What's the system? How are you going to do it? What's the system? And then lastly, I want you to allow yourself to fail. Failure is a good thing. It means that you're trying something you have never tried before in order to get something that you've never had before. Failure is okay. Failure is your friend. There's opportunity in failure. There's great opportunity in failure. So don't beat yourself up. So I want you to evaluate a failure, though. Not just failing and then just you keep moving. No, pause a second, see what didn't work, see why it worked, and assess. Okay? So, again, my name is Desiree Clay. I'm the Des of Des 360. I am a transformational coach. And as a matter of fact, if you need a plan, you can go to my website, DesireeClay.com. I think it's somewhere out there in my bio. If you need help starting, I have a really short goal setting workbook. Use the code Beyond 2020. You can download it for free. It'll help you get started. It's real simple. It's short. I printed it out. It's a download. It's real simple and short. Some of you need help just starting. You just need help starting. Okay? So thank you guys so much for joining us at our Beyond 2020 Wealth Experience. It only gets better. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hope that you have gained some insight. I hope that I have added some value to your life here today. That's my goal. I'm a person of value who adds value to the lives of others. Make sure you download the book if you are a paid registrant. My book, Beautiful Like a Flower. It's some great jewels in there as well. It's a journaling section in there as well. It's amazing. And so, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now. Go ahead and put those questions, comments, concern. Guys, greater is available. Great. Don't let this pandemic fool you. Don't be fooled in the pandemic. This is your time. Start building one brick at a time. You're writing a book one line at a time. If you're losing weight, 1 pound at a time. It starts with small. Think big, but start small. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I see in the comments someone asked where can they find the steps. You can download the workbook on my website, DesireeClay.com. That's DISEREE Clay, CLAY.com. When you go there, you're going to search for the goal setting workbook. Goal setting workbook. And you can use the code Beyond 2020. You can download it for free. It's fine. Beyond 2020. It's a free download. It's my gift to you. You can have it. Miss Owens, you asked, how do I identify what I have to offer to the world? You're going to start with your passion. What you have to offer to the world is within you. So what is your passion? You can literally get a blank piece of paper and just start writing down everything you like to do. And then once you've written down those things, I want you to then look at the list and evaluate and say, now, what is something that sets my soul on fire? If you could do it every day, all day long, if you could do that thing, Miss Owens, every day, all day long, what is that thing? What is it that you're called to? Is it a group of people? Is it a service? Is it just a give back? What is it? So again, how do you identify what you offer to the world? By simply writing down, taking some time, some space, clear time, not with your baby crying in the background, with your husband asking what he gonna eat, the kids need to get to their games and all that kind of stuff. You know, your boss is calling for the project and the report. Not that, some clear, defined time for you. And I want you to just simply write down the things that make you happy, make you feel good about life. And then after you've done that, look at that list and evaluate and say, now, of these 10, 20 things, what are the top 3 things that give me fire? Okay? What makes me, man, when your heart starts beating, you'll know. You know, when your heart starts getting fast, you start getting nervous. When you start getting scared, that's probably the thing that you're supposed to offer to the world. Okay? So can I talk about how you balance with family? Let me tell you, I have an amazing support system. My husband is amazing support system. So, you know, sometimes you have to find outside support. Now, I don't know if you're married or not to the person who asks, how do I balance my family? But I have systems. I'm not kidding. Everything I do is systems. So my baby son, he's 1 year old. So I have a 1-year-old, I have a 2-year-old, and I have a 15-year-old in the house with me. And my bonus son is 13. He's in Louisiana with his dad, with his mom, excuse me. And so 3 children are in the house. And so my house kind of runs like a machine, so to speak, because that's the only way I can function. And so my kids wake up about 7:15 every morning. I'm up before them because I like to just have time to myself. So when they get up, you know, it's a morning routine with them. They know what the routine is because we've done it so much. My son Chase, who's 2, he says things like, "Mommy, is it phonics time?" Because, you know, I do some skill building with him right now. And so, you know, is it breakfast time? He knows that certain times of the morning we do specific things and he knows the order. And he's 2. So you create the systems and then you implement them and you continue to do them over and over. Now, the first time you create a system is going to be tough because if you've never done it, and that I'm talking about balance with family. Okay. So that's what you do. You have to create the systems first, and then you'll be able to determine how much free time you really have. Once you have systems in place, you realize you have more time than what you thought you had. A lot of the time we waste time watching garbage TV. That's what I call it. It's good stuff now, but you don't have time to watch garbage TV. You don't have time to text. I don't really talk on the phone a lot. And so my systems are in place so that I can balance family. You know, so when I'm at the table with my family. We're eating. We eat all of our meals at the table. That's a mandate in our house. You know what I'm saying? That's so I can have concentrated time with my daughter. She can brain dump and talk about her cheer and talk about, so systems. That's how I balance with my family, creating those systems. How do you choose systems to set up? You choose systems to set up in the areas in which you're frustrated. If every morning you're frustrated because you're rushing to make breakfast and you don't have time, you probably need a system. If you're frustrated because dinner time is always chaos, you don't ever know what you're about to eat, that's your system. That's where you need a system. Okay. So I hope I answered your question, Ms. Sharita. What tools do you recommend to stay motivated? Oh, tools. Let me tell you. So motivation, you have to figure out, some people are motivated by different things. So you have to figure out what motivates you, because what motivates me doesn't necessarily motivate you. So my husband loves to motivate and encourage, but he's now found out since our time of being married and together that I don't really need him like every little thing I do, like pumping me up. It's great. I love the support, but I don't need that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So it's great that I have him as a support in that way, but I don't have to have that. What motivates me is accomplishing tasks. So I have a to-do list, and then the more I can check off my boxes and it's to done, that's what I say. I want a to done list. That motivates me when I am making things happen, when I am accomplishing things. It doesn't mean that I see the manifestation of it, but for example, as I'm building out my business, did I upload the workbook to the website? Yep. Did it. Motivated. Hey, if I have one new person that says to me, you know, hey, Des, I appreciate what you said. Hey, that motivates me. So you have to figure out what motivates you. Is it task? Is it people? Is it impact? Make a list of the things that make you, when you're in a low place, what triggers to you, what resonates to you. Maybe it's something tangible. For some people, it's tangible things. Sometimes it's going to sit by the water and get inspired from the earth, So it just depends. So you have to figure out what's motivating to you. You mentioned being certified. Can you speak to why you thought that was important? Well, the certification is just a title, and I told you in the beginning I don't get caught up in titles, but I don't like to be unprepared, right? And so if you're going to be a doctor, you have to study. The Bible tells us to study to show thyself approved, right? So for me, I didn't want to just show up as a speaker, trainer, coach, even though that's my background. My background is in education and in counseling. I could have just started the business. However, for me, I wanted to make sure that when I showed up great. Okay? That when I showed up great, and that I was absolutely prepared. And so in order to prepare, in order to shift my mindset into the journey that I was going to start having, I wanted to go through a certification process. And so that was why it was important to me. The more value I have, the more I can add value to you. Okay? So that's what the motivation came from for me and why I wanted to be certified. Any more questions, comments, or concerns? Any more questions? Yeah, so I hope that I have answered your questions. Let me just go to the chat real quick. Can I repeat my website? Yes, DesireeClay.com, DISEREE Clay.com, DesireeClay.com, okay? DesireeClay.com is my website. So a lot of you are talking about motivation. We're talking about motivation and how you become motivated. Well, let me tell you some other things. If you go over to my website in the workbook, okay, let's walk through the workbook real quick. Okay, in the workbook, I have what great goals are, right? But I actually walk you through the process of identifying your goals and, breakthrough goal setting. So identifying your goals, focusing on the outcome, aligning with your values, identifying obstacles, sizing up your goals. So is your goal even big enough, right? And then we're going to go through some brainstorming tips, right? You go through some brainstorming tips. So that'll help you start to figure out what's motivating you, what it is you want to accomplish, right? And then we talk a little bit about in the workbook, how to focus on your outcomes. So that's the SMART piece. Okay, how to focus on your outcomes. That's the SMART piece. Someone said, please break down what you specifically mean regarding creating systems. Okay, so when I talk about systems, there are, Leslie, let me answer your question. So when I talk about systems, there are a lot of different types of systems. So you're right. So someone asked me a question about my home balance, right? So for my family, I'll stick there in that vein. For my family, my daughter starts school at 7:15. My children wake up, my babies, about 7:15. So what I've actually done was I literally wrote down, I wrote it down, get a piece of paper, identify the things in your life that has to be done. So if you have to go to work, if you have to be there at 8, your kids start school at 8, you have to drive your kids to school. Maybe one child gets on the bus. Maybe you have to prepare breakfast in the morning before you all leave out. Maybe you have to also prepare for dinner, right? And so what I've done was I write down everything that are non-negotiables, the things that have to happen. So work, school, doctor's appointments, things like that. And then I put the times those things happen. And then I think about how do I prepare in order to make these things happen? So if I have to be at work at 8, what does preparation look like so that I'm maximizing my time? What does preparation look like? So in the mornings when we get up, what does my morning routine look like? And I know you guys, you guys talk a lot. You probably hear a lot about morning routines and evening routines, but guys, people are not talking about it because it doesn't work. They're talking about it because it does work. So establishing routines, right? So my day, I'll just give you a rundown of my day. So 7:15, I'll start with the kids. I get up at 6, typically. About 6:30, I'm up. At the latest, 6:30, I'm up. I'm going to do my meditation. If my husband is up, he's probably already out running because he runs first thing in the morning. So that's absolute time for myself. So now I have a good 30, 45 minutes to myself, whether it's to review my day, to pray and talk to Jesus, to just take a breath, breathe. Sometimes I get up and my husband has run me bath water. I like to take baths. So that's my thing. That's part of my system because it helps me reset. It helps me calibrate. It helps me get balance, right? So then the kids are up at 7:15. what typically happens is my husband and I both, we're kind of running around each other in a circle in the kitchen because Carter is starving. He acts like he wakes up hungry. You know, Lynn likes to say, I don't know why kids need all these. Lynn says all the time, I don't know why kids need to eat that many meals a day. My kids eat a lot of meals a day. So Carter loves to eat. Chase loves to eat, but he's 2, so he's a little more patient. So I start off with feeding Carter and preparing Carter's breakfast first. Then I prepared Carter's breakfast, then Chase's breakfast. Cece is already at school. She's a remote learner, so my daughter's already in school, but her breakfast is at 11. So I know that at 10:45, I need to make sure that I have what she's going to eat for her break ready. So systems, I hope this is making sense. So every moment of the day, I pretty much know what I'm going to do. I take client calls during a certain day. I have my transformational training groups set on a certain day at the same time. So I've created a system. I've created somewhat of a routine in my life. Fridays, it's family night, movie night, and pizza night. So systems. I hope I've answered your question, Leslie. If not, reach out to me and we can talk about some systems that you may need, okay? It was another question I saw. I think I gave my website. Break down the systems. I saw that one. Yes, Leslie, you said that helps a lot. Yeah, so that's what's happening. So make sure that in every area of your life, you create a system. Every area of your life, create a system. Every area of your life. So that means at work, at home, okay? And then if you're married, what does that system look like? Because you have to fit your spouse in. And a lot of times women, we're very ambitious, and so we forget about that part. So just make sure you're fitting in time. You want to make sure you're achieving work-life balance. That's one of the things I work on with one of my clients in particular. She is just very ambitious, and I was like that, but I had to pull back because like I want to be married. And at the end of the day, I want to be successful, but I want my marriage to be successful first. And so you have to pull back. You know, I'm trying to make it to Lynn Richardson status. I think they've been married 20-some years or something like that. She'll let you know when she gets on here. You know, I'm trying to make it to that status. So that means I had to make some adjustments. The other part about systems is ensuring that your kids and your family members understand your systems so that they don't interrupt and come with this randomness that people like to do. Hey, let's go do this. Now, it's okay to be spontaneous and do things like that, but in a sense of interrupting what you've established, okay? So systems and routines. So the workbook, guys, make sure you go and download the workbook. Make sure you go and download the workbook. It's a real easy read. Anybody can do this. I made this so that anybody can do it. Anybody can do this workbook. This is not one of those, because I love journals and planners. I'm a journal planner girl. Let me tell you, and I love them. I really do, and I use them. But that's not everybody's story. Everyone cannot plan that far ahead and plan with that many pages in front of them. It's discouraging altogether. And so I just made this real quick one. And you just download it, make a copy, make 3 copies, make 4 copies, and make sure that you're doing this, setting your goals for each area of your life. I want women to thrive in life, love, and career. So set a goal for life, whatever that looks like for you. For love, meaning your relationships. It doesn't have to necessarily mean a romantic relationship. Maybe you need to work on some friendships and things like that, whatever that looks like. And then in your career, what does that look like? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you trying to advance at the workplace that you're currently in? So just, going back and setting those goals. So again, guys, thank you so much. I think my time is just about up. Okay, so have to consider the people in our lives for the things we do, married 40 years, but new to business. Yes, you definitely have to take into account as you're shifting how it affects everyone else in your life. When I started this whole thing, it affected everything in my life. It still does. So I have to always be cognizant of that. Okay. But guys, my time is nearing. Thank you so much for joining us at Beyond 2020. This is our virtual wealth meetup. It is so much more in store for you. Dr. Lynn Richardson, MC Light. I call her Miss Light. It actually sounded crazy when you said MC Light. Miss Light and Ingrid are going to be coming up next. And then, of course, we're going to have our business pitch later. But guys, thank you so much. My name is Desiree Clay. I'm the Des at Des 360. I'm a master certified transformational coach and certified speaker with John Maxwell, trainer and coach, do leadership training and all of the above. Make sure you follow me on social media at Des 360. Everything is spelled out. I made it real easy for you. That's DEZTHREE 60, Des 360 on my social media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And join me on this coming Tuesday for Transformation Tuesday. I give tips just like this, way less on my Facebook page, Des 360 Facebook page, every Tuesday for Transformation Tuesday. It's my hope that I have added value to you in some way, and that you will in turn add value to your life and add value to the lives of others. Thank you so much, Dr. Lynn Richardson, MC Light. Thank you so much for allowing me to use this platform to allow my voice to be heard. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for all the work you've done. Guys, Hip Hop Sisters, make sure you are donating. We have a big mission ahead of us. We believe in empowering women and educating our men. We have given away over $1 million in scholarships so far, and we are just grateful. So make sure you go to Hip Hop Sisters page, our Facebook page, hiphopsisters.org. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, hey. Hello? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Oh, there we are. How you doing, Lynn? Can you hear me? Oh, I hear. Okay, there we are. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a whole new way to bring the wealth experience, huh?
Yes. Are we live? I think we are live and ready to go. Okay, so first of all,
yes,
I am. I know we have to get into what we came here to talk about and helping folks, survive the decades and multiply their money. But oh my God. First of all, Dr. Jazz, B better bring my money. Let me tell you. Now, see, if I would have came up with that, you wouldn't have let me say that.
No,
yeah, you would not have let me say it, but I'm so glad she did. So now I can say it too. I love it. I love it. I love it. She said, you have to do what you've never done to see what you've never seen so you can have what you've never had. This seems like our journey. Like you are my sister. We are business partners. We fall out and then we go out to eat right after. We've built, just this amazing opportunity for so many people. And Dr. Jazz just brought it on home with resurrection, release, restore, and restitution. And then, oh my God, look at our little baby Desiree. Desiree done grew on up.
Yes.
Desiree done grew on up, child. She done started a whole family. She got 2-3 more kids that she started out with. And she has gone from being our director of communications to associate vice president to executive vice president of Hip Hop Sisters Foundation. And now a certified John C. Maxwell speaker. So as we were thinking about putting this together, it was like, we've got to bring the face and the voice of what all of this is. So Desiree said, beyond fear to hope. But let me tell you the number one thing Desiree said, then you can tell them what you love. Desiree said, leaders never let a crisis go to waste. Now, let me tell you, I could have just ran around the room on that. But if I would have ran around the room on that, I would have been sweaty and tired, and we would not have been able to have this wealth experience. I would have had to go take a nap, get something to eat, do all of that. I could have blown the roof off of the building when she said that.
Okay. Yeah. No, let me tell you something. First off, I think I must have texted Dr. T and I was like, whatever Desiree is on, I want to be on the same thing. I was like, she was empowered this morning to give an impactful presentation. And I enjoyed it. When she said she encountered a detour from the detour, I was like, that ain't all of our lives, thinking that you're going to do it one way and then you are moved off the mark and you just have to recalibrate so that you can, be successful with where it is you're trying to get to, although there might be some different detours that you might have to take to get there. I enjoyed both of our morning speakers. This is what we call a detour from the detour, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just happy to be here with you this morning. We've gotten off to a fantastic start. And so where are we? Well,
we're here and we, I think we need to help people understand how we got to this point right now.
Okay.
So I know that, we kind of had some notes here. I'm looking at my notes. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm looking at my notes so I can know what we have to say. But yeah, the floor is yours to just kind of tell us where you were literally a decade ago. And how I think we're going to be able to explain and give people some practical, tactical business steps and some financial, how do you create all of these streams of income? But where were you when we started this 10 years ago?
Well, when we started this 10 years ago, I had a manager who was basically just managing all of the requests that were coming in. So there wasn't a whole lot of strategy being put forth to growing the business. And in addition to that, I had a company name that I hadn't done much with. It was all about just using that company as a loan out company to accept money and then pay taxes and so on and so forth. So I had all of these things in my mind about what I wanted to do. Of course, I had already done some voiceover and done some acting, but it was all on the front of me being an artist. And I had always wanted to be a part. That's on the for-profit side. For the nonprofit side, I always wanted to have a foundation of my own, but I found myself constantly working with other people and their foundations, which was okay. But I always wanted to be on the ground with the foundation work that goes into foundationally what is needed to build a foundation. And so when we met, prior to us meeting, I had done much praying about what the next move was going to be, wanting to become passionate about something. And just prior to us working together, I said, I want to do some music supervision. So I was behind a desk at a company doing music supervision, putting music into TV. But when I got the call from you about starting a foundation, I realized that there was much more for me to do. God had a plan, that he had a detour from my plan, because I thought my plan meant something. When in fact, when I asked him, God, just send me the right people so that whatever it is that I am intended to do, they will be able to step me through it. Because I always say this, wherever we talk, wherever we go, when we're talking in front of lots of people, I'm always determined to share that the number one thing that you have to be when you're looking for the next step is open. And if you think that you know what it is, then you're already gone. You have to be open to whatever it is that's coming. So when I got the call from you, I just had to be open in the spirit. I had asked God, and so you said, do I want to start a foundation? And I was like, wow, this feels like I spoke to God and God called you immediately and told you what it was that I was in need of. And so from there, it just was a matter of building trust. You asked me what I wanted to do. After we started the foundation, you set everything up. We had a meeting 4 or 5 months later. We had 501c3 status. We were giving away 2 $100,000 scholarships that same year. It was probably like 3 or 4 months after we had formed the organization, which is bananas. And then you asked me, did I need help with the for-profit? And so we were able to date with Hip Hop Sisters. We've given away over $1 million in scholarships, which is more than God's blessing. That was enough for me to come from behind the desk of music supervision. But then you asked, did I need help on the for-profit? And I was like, absolutely. What it is I see in my mind won't come to fruition until I have a quarterback that I can give that vision to, and they can take it all the way down to the field, and all the way down the field to the end zone. And so it's been about you prepping me for what it takes to be an entrepreneur. I remember you said, okay, so I'm going to be the COO and you're going to be the CEO. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be the CEO. And he was like, okay, well, in the mornings, we're going to go through stuff. Oh, yeah, we'll do whatever. And then I remember the morning you was like, okay, did you print out your spreadsheet? And I was like, my what? He was like, your spreadsheet, because we have to we have to strategize, we have to make a plan. And I just couldn't understand it. All my life, I had heard of people being CEOs, but they didn't really do work. They just had the title. So I was like, wait a second, I'm being asked to do more. Is this really part of the plan? You were like, oh yeah, ain't no free ride. You got to do the work. And there is where I began to really understand what it takes to have a successful anything. And that is work. You know, much of what I do or have done in the past is art. You know, you love it, you do it because you're in love with doing that thing. You do it whether you get paid or not, but you must get paid because you have to live. But when it comes to a business,
yeah.
And I remember you said, we have to have a business meeting. That used to scare me. I mean, like, but we're talking about business all the time. What do you mean?
No, we have to have a meeting. It have to be, specific.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
Oh, we have to be specific. And so I just became accustomed to really opening my mind as to if I'm going to get from 1 to 10, there has got to be work that happens in between there. You're not going to fumble up on the success. And if you do, that's just an opportunity for you to then step it to the next level. And I think that's what hip hop was for me. I prepared for it, no doubt. But when I had that audition with the record label and it took off, I realized that hip hop was just another stepping stone for me to take it to another level. And because of that, we have Sunny Girl, which is an enterprise in itself with so many people that we love and also represent as a part of this firm, whether they're clients or employees or partners or contributors in some way. And Hip Hop Sisters, you know, that alone, being able to send as many, we done sent so many people to school, I can't keep count now.
I know.
Which is a true blessing. Yeah. But really what I love and respect for you, and let me say it in front of everybody, happy birthday. Yes, happy birthday to you, our fearless leader, is that you never stop teaching me what it takes to be a successful CEO, entrepreneur of a multi-million-dollar firm. And because I didn't grow up with this, it's like I got the microwave version of what it takes to be in charge of employees, to communicate properly, to inspect what you expect is often what you tell me, because I'll send a message out and it'll be a week later and you're like, did you get what you asked for? And I was like, no, I'm still waiting for them. You know, you got to inspect what you expect. So there are so many things, and I'm sure we'll go into more. Mm-hmm. I wanted to lay that down for you because you asked.
So thank you, Light, for, first of all, just thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I was put in this world to do. Mm-hmm. And not only am I thanking Light for that, I am thanking everybody who is here. Your presence here means that I am accomplishing the goal that I set out to accomplish. And of course, this has been a lifetime for me, but I want to take you through the decade because I want you to understand what it's going to take for you to get not only what you want today, but through the next decade. And so everyone who is here, your presence means that I passed the test. I accomplished the goal. And the goal was to use all of the acumen that I had developed in business, in life, in relationships, in finances, and in spirituality. My goal was to help other people be able to infuse all of those things and to live in harmony. And so when I met you, Light, you had prayed for someone to help you, and I had prayed for someone to help. You prayed for help, and I prayed to help. And not only did I pray to help, I then did what Desiree said. Desiree said, you just have to step out on faith. You're not supposed to know how.
Right.
She said, you have to step out on faith, and then God will show you the way. So the first thing I did was quit my job. I couldn't stay. And I quit when I was at the top of my game. I quit when I was running a national program. I quit when I had been promoted from one division to running a whole, division for multicultural and emerging markets for people, underserved communities and people of color and so on and so forth. And it was very clear to me at my planning meeting. So when we talk about planning, and Ingrid's coming on later with the decade planner, because what we want to do is we want to be able to track everything that you say you want and how you're going to get there. And so once at that planning meeting, I knew I could not plan with them. I knew I could not do what I was being asked to do. And I don't know how to do anything halfway. And since I couldn't do it I just chose not to do it at all. So the one thing that I want to say to everybody is, number one, make the decision. Ask for help and be the help. That's the number one thing. Light asked for someone to turn. Now, let me help you understand what we were facing with MC Light. We were facing her entire career that she had up until that point being, basically a legendary, iconic rapper. The first of so many things, the first to have a gold record, or the first to have an album or a full-fledged album, the first solo artist to be nominated for a Grammy, the first of so many things. And then to be on the top 5 lists for many of us who grew up in hip hop, period. It wasn't the top 5 female. She's on the top 5 for a lot of people, just period. And so what we were facing is, so she had a great music career, right? So we have music, we have DJing, we have hosting and speaking at events, and we had voiceover. And those were some of the things that at that particular point, Light was, either very known well for, or consistently maybe having some income in these areas, but wanting more, wanting so much more. So the very first meeting that we had took place right now in the month of October, in that first year of working together to get into the next dimension. And so getting together right now at this particular time is not only, as Dr. Jazz said, now I understand now that my birthday started the feast in Jewish culture, which is probably why yesterday when my husband ate my biscuit from Red Lobster, I got so mad because it was the feast and I was trying to have my feast, okay? My husband ate my biscuit on my birthday, y'all. I was so mad I didn't know what to do with myself because I had planned for this biscuit. I chose a specific one and I'm eating my food and I look around and the biscuit is gone. But that's a whole nother story. But this is not only the fourth quarter season, but this is the time to plant all the other ideas. So here's what we had to add. We had to enhance and add music, DJing, voiceover, acting, incomes, producing TV and film. Congratulations, Light. Year 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 2018, 19, 20. You sold your first, not your first, but you sold one of your biggest productions that's about to go into production. We've sold many TV shows this year. Producing TV and film, acting. Congratulations, Light, for being a recurring on SWAT. Congratulations, Light, for being a recurring on Queen of the, what was it? It was Queen of the South. Congratulations, Light, on acting in the movie that made it to Sundance. Congratulations. All of these things, as Desiree said, they required a system. They required structure and they required strategy. So then we threw in entertainment management. What I did for you, we then began to do for other artists, and then the company turned around and did for me. So not only, the hair commercial from back in the day with the men that needed the hair transplant, and the man comes on and says, I'm not only the president, I'm also a client.
Yeah.
I guess he had gotten a hair transplant too. Well, same thing for me. I'm not just the president of Sunny Girl, I am also a client. And so the talent known as Lynn Richardson came by way of all of our efforts. And then we have books and real estate and other businesses. But before any of that, let me tell you what we came to do together first. The first thing in this masterclass, giving.
Giving.
We came together to give.
Mm-hmm.
That was my initial. So 2011, I sent MC Lyte a text message after having interviewed her on my regular segment that I did for Global Grind. At the time, I was still running one of Russell Simmons' companies, and I was the financial expert for his platform Global Grind, as well as for RushCard, and I was the chief operating executive for his foundation, the Hip Hop Summit Action Network.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2011, and Desiree says something about you have to know your location in order to get where you're going. My location was, I was #1 at Prudential, Rookie of the Year, making more money than I ever thought was possible. And I wanted to walk away from it all. And I wanted to help someone else give.
Mm-hmm.
So I text Lyte. That was 2011. And she did not respond to my text message right away. And so for those of you, I'm sorry.
Nothing.
Oh no, go on. What were you going to say?
I said you had to say that I didn't hit you back.
Yeah. You didn't hit me back.
Right.
So for those of you who, it's the truth, for those of you who don't get a return phone call, for those of you who don't get a response to your email, for those of you who don't get the answer that you're looking for right away. And then on top of that, for those of you who get the nerve to have an attitude, you don't get the answer that you're looking for right away, or the person doesn't hit you back, or the person doesn't respond back, and then you get an attitude. Mm-hmm. Desiree said, change your perspective. So in having 2020 perfect vision, and in having to change the perspective, for me, my perspective always was to help. My perspective always was, I'm going to heal that thing. So when I didn't get the call back or the response back from MC Lyte after the first message, guess what? I copied and pasted the same exact message and sent it again. And there was no ill feeling in my heart. I didn't feel like, well, why didn't she? I didn't feel anything. I just felt, okay, let me send it again. Because first of all, I don't even believe in the answer no. I believe in, oh, not yet or not now. So I'm going to redo that thing. So like when you got that second text message from me, because this is step one, how are we going to create multiple streams of income? And the first thing is to figure out, first thing to do is to ask for help and then be the help. Mm-hmm. And in being the help, you have to decide what you're going to give. What are you going to give? When I hit you with the same exact message the second time, like, what clicked for you in that moment?
I think just really understanding that I had just asked God for the help. And so the first time you called, I was still working out. So I knew I couldn't do both. I could not do music supervision at an office, in a production space, going into edit bays and all of this, and then commit to something as huge, even though it was just potentially at that moment, something as huge as Hip Hop Sisters.
Yeah.
So I had to really deal with that. I had to deal with, okay, am I ready to leave this world? Because there were people there, production staff, people counting on me We had just moved into new offices. You know, it was the energy of something that was that I was going to be there for, so everyone thought. And so I just had to get my mind straight. So by the time you hit me the second time, you know, I had really just dealt with it and accepted that my mission was beyond that circumstance or that opportunity, that God had something new and fresh, and it was coming by way of us working together.
So number one then is to ask for help and be the help.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two is to recognize the help when it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you all what I'm going to tell you. When I recognize my help, I don't let it go. I don't let it go. I don't let go of my help once I recognize what I've asked for. So for everybody who has said, I want to get my money straight, you know what the help is? 21 Days to Financial Freedom. You know what the help is? How to stop living check to Monday and build multiple streams of income. You know what the help is? How to start a home-based business. You know what the help is? How to transform out of the pandemic. You know what the help is? That workbook that Desiree just made available that you need to download. That's the help.
Yeah.
You got to recognize the help, and then you have to respond, and then you simply have to do the work. So what happened after you acknowledged the text and we immediately got into Hip Hop Sisters. And so I was feeling pretty good. I was, I was newly finishing my master's degree in urban ministry. I'm saying all of this so that you all can understand that your life is no different than our life. Our lives are identical to yours, being that we want more than what we have. We don't know how to get there. We've got a lot of things going on. Some of the stuff that's going on is good. Other things we need to figure out. And at the end of the day, we're going to stick to a strategy and keep moving forward. And so at that time, I was finishing my master's degree in urban ministry. I was still running Russell Simmons Company. I'm now at Prudential, number one in the company. And I didn't plan to be number one. I didn't want to be number one. I became Rookie of the Year after only 6 weeks of working. I started in November, and then by December, I was bored. And that's why I'm texting MC Light in the middle of a Prudential sales meeting saying, do you want to start a foundation? Does that even make sense? It doesn't even make sense.
Right.
So when Desiree said that thing that makes your heart beat, that thing, you go after that. And I wasn't texting her to make $1 million. I wasn't texting her to try to get her to come on. I was texting her to see if she wanted to start something to help people, because I saw a tweet that said Hip Hop Sisters. And I was like, I'm a hip hop sister. I'm a wife, mother, minister. But as Jason said, I'm a minister, preacher, gangster, teacher. And I can rap and do all of that. And I started out in hip hop. And so I saw an opportunity. So recognize the help. The next thing, like that I want us to, really kind of focus on. So we started the foundation. In that first year, we said we were going to give one $100,000 scholarship at the Soul Train Awards. And then we made a decision to do something different. Why did we decide, or what were you thinking, or what was the big thing that made us say, we're going to invite 2 young ladies down, and they both thought they were finalists, and we ultimately wound up giving away 2 scholarships. What did that do for you and your career at that time?
Oh, it was everything, because like I said, I had done lots of things where I was assisting with other people's organizations, but to really have an organization that we put together, that I was one of the founders of, was a huge deal for the brand MC Light. And for me as a person, to be able to give someone like the opportunity to further their education where they would not have, had that backing or that support, that meant everything to me. That it really defined the type of work that I want to do and want to continue to do. It hit a space that I had never hit before, spiritually and just in business. And, you know, you've always told me, you and Russell, you know, great givers are great getters. And so when you can get out of your own way and be the via by which someone else is blessed, you ultimately will be blessed as well. So it changed everything.
Yeah, it changed. You went from being, you know, an iconic rapper and, you know, just an all around dynamite voice of truth. Like, really, when you hear MC Lyte's voice, you think truth. When you hear MC Lyte's voice, you think legacy, you think history. You feel solid, like it's a solid foundation. But what you ultimately ended up doing, you moved right into philanthropy and adding the philanthropic arm to the brand that you were already building and had built up until that point, 20 years. Then it took you into a whole entirely new dimension. And this is what I want everybody to understand. Once you ask for help, and then you decide to be the help, and then you decide what you're going to give, now you need to understand that once you decide that you're going to give, this is a masterclass. And this is not the 10 steps to building a real estate empire. This is the inside work that creates what's going to manifest outside. Once you decide that you are going to give, you will now be blessed with everything that you need to give. Mm-hmm. So the first year of us making the decision that we were going to give away one $100,000 scholarship, and I ended up giving away 2 $100,000 scholarships and surprised both of those young ladies on the Soul Train Music Awards red carpet. What we ultimately ended up doing, like, and this is why we're doing this wealth experience, to give everybody the same blueprint that you and I not only created together, but I would like to think that we've mastered it, particularly when we look at where we were 10 years ago and look at where we are now. Once we did that, and once you all do that, if you're listening to this, you will now overly put your strategy and your platform and your progress, you're going to put it on Zoom. You're going to, every single thing that you do now is going to manifest double. Everything that you do from this point is now going to, you're not going to have to, if you made mistakes for the first 20 years of your life, it's not going to take you 20 years to unmake those mistakes. You're going to do it. You're going to Zoom, you're going to explore, you're going to advance, and you're going to significantly reduce your training time. So if you thinking you want to make $100,000, you need to count on making 2. If you think you want to get $1 million, you need to plan for 2. If you think you want to make 10 million, you need to plan for 20. If you want to make 50, you need to plan for 100. Whatever it is you think you want to do, you need to plan for it to be double and beyond. Mm-hmm.
I like that strategy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ask for the help. Be the help. Give, because that's what helpers do. I don't care what you're doing. If you are a dog catcher, right? You are giving the world the opportunity to not have stray dogs on the street scaring people, biting them, passing out rabies or whatever. If you are a yeah, I know, real wild example. If you are a street sweeper, you are giving people the opportunity to walk on a clean street, have a clean environment. If you are a life coach, if you are a financial consultant, whatever, if you are an entertainer, if you are a singer, whatever it is that you do, it's giving. So once you decide that you want to give, I always tell people this: God does not promote powders, and God will not bless you to embarrass him. What do I mean by that? When God blesses you, he's going to give you everything that you need for what it is that you said you wanted to do to serve his purpose. Right. So if you want to give, we want to give away scholarships. We then created the empire and the income streams in order for us to be able to continue giving those scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
We had sponsors or not, we've had some great sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
But about 3 years ago, like, what did I tell you? I said, who was going to be the #1 sponsor for our scholarship initiative?
Prudential.
Who was going to be our #1 sponsor for our scholarship initiatives and our foundation?
We are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that's what has happened. So as you start to think about what you want to do and where you want to go and moving beyond 2020, and I'm going to go back to something that Dr. Jazz said in terms of resurrection. In order for something to be resurrected, something had to die.
Mm-hmm.
What in you is going to die?
Mm.
What's going to die?
Mm-hmm.
Like what died for you when you made the decision to transform from being a rapper and entertainer into being the business mogul that you are today? What died?
Oh, goodness. This is a great question. I'm going to answer it. We also have Ingrid ready at any given moment. Ego. My ego had to die. That part of me that thought she knew it all. I've done this for however many years. That's not going to work. Why are we going to do that? That's not going to work. We should do this. It just was not being open-minded. So I had to get rid of a lot of those egotistical aspects that say I can't learn new things, or I couldn't learn new things, or there wasn't a better way to do something, or there wasn't a need for something. And so that, and I had to get rid of, shorthand communication. Because I'm the type of person that says less. It's just like, oh, you don't understand what I'm saying? And really, how could someone, if I'm not using, the best of what I've got to communicate to my team and to my partner, how can we grow the business in that way? There's no way that can actually happen. So there were some things that I really had to take a look at and change my perspective.
And I'm so glad you said that, Light, because the ego was a big problem. It was a problem. I was like, Jesus, Lord, help me. And God would always say, well, I sent you to help them. Now, you can't have no patience and then beat them up too. Like, you got to heal the patients like that. That's what the whole idea is. Mm-hmm. But what I want to say to everyone as it relates to the thing that has to die in order for there to be a resurrection, and it's the #1 thing that I remember being flabbergasted by. And actually, quite frankly, in the beginning, I was very turned off when I first read the book, The Purpose-Driven Life. And I remember going to get the book and I was like, The Purpose-Driven Life. Because that's when I was doing 50 million things. I had, you come to my house on a Saturday, I could write your resume, teach you how to get a job, write you an insurance policy, do your nails. They might be lumpy, but at least you had some, do your hair. Like, I had all these different jobs. My name is Lenny and I got plenty. That was Lenny, okay? So here I am, like, I want to live on purpose. Like, what is it? And so the #1 thing that I learned, when you first open a book, first chapter says, it's not about you. It's not about you. So here's the thing, ask for help and then be the help. And you need to know when you are asking for help. So let me just make this public service announcement. If you join Wealth University because you want me to teach you what I have learned, and that is how to go from 0 to 100 in terms of your finances and your business strategy, how to recover from anything financially, foreclosure, bankruptcy, bad credit, no money in the bank, living check to 2 o'clock. There is no worse case than me. I have learned how to get out of that. And not only have I learned how to get out of it, I've learned how to stay out of it. And then I've learned how to grow my finances and my businesses to a whole nother level that I didn't even think was possible. I've learned how to do that. So if you come to me wanting to learn how to do that, You can't teach me how to teach you. Let me just take my sip of coffee on that.
Yeah, take your sip. I'm gonna take a little sip of mine too.
You can't teach me how to teach you. The student, well, I want to go faster. Well, I want to do, no. So for everybody who wants to move beyond 2020, follow the system. I promise you the system works. As long as the system is not asking you to sell your soul to the devil,
Right.
as long as the system is honest, it's truthful, and it's integral, follow the system.
Yes.
When Desiree said how her days go, that's my whole life. My entire life is a system. My structure, my daily structure is a system. When I had kids at home, it was a system. So in applying this to light, in the same strategy that we apply to light, who is a global light, literally, you're the light of the world. You're my sister, and we just, man, you just doing so many wonderful things.
Thank you, sister.
The same strategy that MC Light has is what I'm giving you. I'm not giving you all a different strategy. So not only have I overcome and I've implemented for myself and it's working for me, here's the next thing. It's now working for others. And anything that is life and truth is duplicatable. It's one of the reasons why, you know, I don't, and I'm just going to say this, you know, with prosperity preaching and stuff like that, not judging anyone, but I believe if everybody can't have a big jet to fly to the meeting, then you don't need one. Like, I feel like what happens for me, what happens for you should be able to happen and be duplicatable for everybody. Everybody who does the work will be able to reap the reward. So when you then have the resurrection, and then you have the release. The release is what happened, everybody, from 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, and 2015 was the release. Once we put the strategy in place, every single year, Light and I would check off the list. We would check off, this is what we accomplished. So for those of you who are in Wealth University, taking the Master Achievement Plan, that's the exact same plan that Light follows. It's the exact same strategy that she's implemented. That's why if you do an assignment and you don't pass, it's not because I'm being mean, it's because I'm trying to push you into another dimension. Then you get the opportunity to restore. So what we knew, Light, and tell us a little bit about, and I know we're going to bring Ingrid on. I think we have 3 minutes for Ingrid. Yeah, 3 minutes for Ingrid. Tell us, Light, how did it feel when you felt like your music career was ending and you weren't exactly sure how you were going to replace not just the income, but when you weren't sure how you were going to replace your relevance?
Right. My purpose, what was going to be my purpose? Where was my passion going to be? What was it going to be put into? How I felt, it was really strange, but because I have a strong foundation in God, I knew that whatever the plan was, it was going to be a good one. And that I just had to be open enough for, you know, things to move, for the energy to move, for him to bring me the right people and move me along. And so when I was coming out of the music supervision, he gave me that as well. He had that to carry me until we came up, you know, we got together and came up with this magnificent strategy and plan. But, you know, no lie, it felt like, wow, what am I going to do next? What is going to be the next thing for me to do? And even though I wanted to do acting and producing and all of these things, you know, it just takes work. And I guess I was looking at how, like Desiree, she said, you know, I think she said, dream big, start small, something to that effect. But I was looking at this huge ending, this huge goal, and not really understanding how the hell I was going to get there.
Yeah.
And although we say, you got to give it to God, you still have to be the one to prepare. You still have to be the one to do the work. And he will, give you those opportunities where you're in the same places where you get a call from a Lynn Richardson. We've worked together for some time now, and I'm still amazed at how it is that you put forth as much energy and effort into bringing up your clientele, into educating them and empowering them. And I feel, more than blessed to be able to call you at any time of the day and say, this is my issue. I need help working through this. And it doesn't matter if it's financial. It doesn't matter if it's my marriage. It doesn't matter if it's a friendship that I'm having problems like communicating or whatever the case may be. And not only do I feel honored that I can call you for those, but during a conversation, if I'm saying something that's a little crazy, you don't have a problem correcting me or helping me see another side of that, helping me see past my pain and how it is that I'm reacting to something has something to do with not the moment that I'm in.
Yeah.
And so, I know I went all over the place.
No, this is good.
But the point is, you asked me, how did I feel when I was making that crossover? It was painful, but knowing that there was a bigger and brighter side that existed and I was on my way to it, I was ready to go through the tunnel to get to the light.
Wow. There's a whole lot there. I think we're going to have some Q&A. I'm not exactly sure how much time we have for that. We have to bring on Ingrid. And let me just say this before we bring her on, because Ingrid's going to tell us what we need in this last piece.
Okay.
You're trying to move beyond 2020, but you're also trying to move beyond 2030, 2040, 2050. This is about exponential growth. Exponential is not just one and then another one. Exponential is 1 and then 10 and then 100 and then 1,000. That's exponential growth. Number 1, ask for help. Number 2, be the help. When you give, you position yourself for exponential growth. You position yourself for exponential growth. I always knew if I said that I'm going to help everybody on the globe be financially free, I knew that God had to give me what I needed to make that happen in order for it to manifest. Because when you want to give something to people to help them be free, the universe is going to respond and make sure you have the things. But after you give and decide what you are giving, these are your businesses. What are we giving? We're giving an MC Lights Life. It's music, still, DJing, hosting, voiceover, acting, producing TV and film, entertainment management, books, real estate, other businesses. For me, that is speaking, coaching, that is insurance, that's mortgages, that's real estate, that's tax bot. There's all these things. And these are the streams of income you're also going to develop in your own life. They might have different titles, but they're going to be streams. The next thing you have to do is go. Ask for help, be the help, give, and go. And I don't know anybody better to help us go and understand what that means than our chief financial officer, controller, CFO, money, numbers girl, guru, Ingrid Levon Woolfolk. Please join us to talk to us about how we're going to go with the Decade Planner.
Hey guys.
Hey, how are you?
Hey. Oh my God. If I hear Lynn talk about that biscuit one more time, I'm sending you a basket of biscuits.
My biscuit. I wanted that biscuit.
You know, well, first of all, thank you, my sisters, for having me on with you. You know, I just love you. I'm bummed that I am not there with you in person. I feel like a part of me is missing for October. We're normally celebrating multiple birthdays. Light has a birthday coming up. October is always a big month for us in person.
Yeah.
This is the first October that I haven't been with you guys in 5 years. Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness.
And so, so I'm a little bummed, but guess what? New times call for us to pivot, right?
That's
And
right.
so this is the opportunity to do that. But one thing I want to touch on that you guys have been talking about is, in order to excel, in order to thrive, something must die. And I wanted to add to that. Oftentimes we think it's a thing, but sometimes it's relationships. Sometimes it's friendships. Sometimes something inside of us, to Light's point, must die in order for us to excel. Sometimes we have to lose people really important to us that pushes us to the next level. And I'm speaking from experience, because after losing my mom, I have never operated in this capacity ever in my life. And I think it's because God is behind me, pushing me and giving me everything that I think she would have given me, and then some. So, for those of you that feel like sometimes you're lost, or you don't know what you can do beyond losing that person, that relationship, that thing, know that it is definitely, it gets better. It gets easier, and this is your time. So anyway, I just had to.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, sometimes some people and some things must die in order for you to get that. Your lighting looks a little dark. Okay.
No, that wasn't for you, Ingrid. That's not a note for you.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I got a light right here.
No, you're good.
You're good.
But you know, you guys, we've been talking about the decade planner. So let me give you guys like the 30-second. Many of you guys are on like, what is a decade planner? Well, here's a true testament of going when you have never done something before. Of course, I had written my book, Living After Divorce. And many of you guys know I'm twice divorced, now married. I say this, the third time is a charm. I have a wonderful husband that allows me to be me in all my sometimes selfishness and craziness. He accepts that. And so in turn, that makes me better. So I'm super excited that I'm married for the last time. The last time. This is it. To the grave. But I designed a planner called the Decade Planner. And it came to me in January of this year at Wealth.
Okay.
And it was really dreamt from Dr. Jazz's message, along with Bishop T.D. Jakes. I had just listened to a message from him on YouTube talking about the decade. And it wasn't anything that I didn't know. I've always helped companies plan in 3 to 5 year periods. But it really hadn't hit me that in order to see true success, things don't typically happen in the first 2 to 3 years unless you've been planting for the decade, right? For instance, Tesla just announced that they're going to have electric cars. Now, everybody in the market was mad because they thought that the CEO was going to say he's going to have it tomorrow. Guess when he said? He said 5 years from now. That's half a decade. And so anything that's worth having that's sustainable requires you to put in the work. And sometimes it takes 5 to 10 years to make that happen. And so as I was sitting in one of the sessions, I said, I can do this. And I went back to the hotel room. We were at the Ritz, and I just started scribbling things down. And 60 days later, the Decade Planner was born. And what was put into the Decade Planner was what we have all been living. How do we get there? How do we plan? Everything that you guys talked about. But the biggest thing that I have to tell people in order to start planning, oftentimes you hear people say, be what you can see. This is not the time to be what you can see. This is the time to be what you say. If you want to be financially free and show other people how to do it, you have to be that also. If you want to help people grow a profitable business, you have to be that. And all transparency, in 2015, I was not this person that you see today. I was going through a divorce. I had no savings. My credit was in the toilet. I was trying to help companies or businesses, I should say, be profitable, but I wasn't what I was saying. I could help corporations, but I wasn't doing it for myself. And it's not only until you can be what you say that the doors start opening for you to really receive the blessings that you're supposed to have. So that's the first thing. You got to be what you say. You can't be faking the funk all the time. I know they say fake it till you make it. Well, that only lasts for so long. Eventually, you have to perform. You have to execute. You have to act.
Right.
So Ingrid, what are some of the key things in terms of, because I think it's Dr. Jazz, she said, thinking moments, planning days, and it went from moments to decades. What are some of the things that people should be thinking about as they think about what they want the next decade to look like? How does that, because that seems like a lot, when folks are just trying to figure out how to get beyond unemployment, when people are trying to figure out, how am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to recover? And I remember for Light, it was, this is where we are and this is where we want to go. And she trusted me to kind of navigate that path. But how do people just in general, what do? Do we just say, okay, by 2030, I want to do this? Or is it much more incremental daily? Like how do we even begin to plan for a decade?
The first thought is, everybody has, first you start with the monumental moments. When you look over your life, what's happening in your life in 10 years? And let's just not even talk about business. Let's just talk about your personal life. What's happening in your life? Some people are planning marriages right now. Some people want to have kids. Some people will retire. Some people will be having children go off to college. I think about my life. In the next 10 years, my husband will be retired. My son will be going to college. Those are things that I know are, God willing, will happen. Well, I know that that's happening in 2 years. So now I kind of rewind back to today and say, well, how can I start to plan for retirement? It's coming. How can I start to plan for my son to go to college? It's coming. And so then you look at, well, what's the 5-year goal? What's going to happen within 5 years? What's going to happen within the next 3 years? What's going to happen in 1 year? And you truly have to look at the big goal and chunk it down by years until you can get to the current year that you're in. And then you look at it and you chunk it down by months and not overwhelm yourself with big goals. Like if I thought about my husband retiring right now in 5 years, my head would explode. I'm like, okay, we need X, people tell you how much money you need to retire. If I thought I had to hit that goal today, I would just be deflated. But understanding that I can get there by putting in a process. Everybody talked about systems. I don't know how else you can hit goals without having a process or a system. And with that comes consistency. That is the part of the process that people miss. A lot of people can identify what to do, but then when you don't see the immediate results, you stop.
Yes.
Success doesn't happen by one-offs. It is a string of successes that you've consistently done, that you failed and fixed and kept going. And so identify that one thing. If you know you are going to retire in 10 years, what's that one thing you can do today that will lead you to 10 years from now? Getting a second job. Is it learning about investments or retirement funds well before you actually have the money to do so? Is it education? Do you need to go back to school? What is that one thing you can start today? And then you develop a plan around that one thing. We get so caught up in so many things. I tell you, I can't do more than one thing at the same time. I have to focus on that one thing, which is why I tell people I stay in my lane. Stay in my lane. I hire my blind spots. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a technology person. Heck, it took me 10 minutes just to get into StreamYard today. But if you told me to monetize StreamYard, I could do that with my eyes closed. You have to stick and stay in what you know. And then here's the big thing. Most of us have businesses. Let's talk about business for a minute. We have businesses that are running us. we're not running our business. You know why? Because we don't have projections. We don't have numbers. What is that big number? If you know you need $2 million in retirement, call it out, write it down, and then you develop the steps to get to that 2 million. But oftentimes we're like, oh yeah, I want to retire, but you don't have a number. How much money do you need to make in your business? Dr. Lynn just told everybody you need to plan for double. Guess what? That sounds great, right? But then now you have to put the plan on paper. What does it look like? What resources do you need to plan for double? What resources do you need to just plan to get there? What is the number? How do you make that number on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis? Do you have people, to Light's point, that'll check you if you derail? Light tells you all the time. Dr. Lynn will say, nope, that's not quite right. Or she'll tell you, no, that's not what she said. She's like, that's crazy. How you think you do that?
We ain't doing that.
We ain't doing that.
The answer is no.
You need a team of people that's going to be honest with you and say, now you know that. Now say that again. Does that even sound right? You need people that's going to be honest with you in having a team and making sure that you're sharing your projections, not telling people your business, but so many times we're scared to share our dreams and visions with people. And when we don't share it, we don't get the help we need.
Okay. I think we are about to go into Q&A. I'm just looking at the timeline here. We have a few more minutes. Okay, great.
We have 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes.
Yeah, and then we have to, so let me know what's next. Do we do the Q&A first, and then I just need to know from the team in the background what I'm supposed to do, because I see 2 things. I see Q&A and something else.
Yeah, it says Q&A and then present.
Right, but I'm not sure which one is first. I just need to know what's first. Okay, so we're doing Q&A first. Okay, excellent. Before we move into Q&A, let me just say this to everybody. Again, ask for help. Be the help. Give and then go. This process worked for me. It worked for Light. It worked for Ingrid. What Ingrid shared with me back in 2015, when we invited her to the first wealth experience, I had known Ingrid for 20 something years and hadn't been in touch and so on and so forth. And then I saw her somewhere and it was the same thing. I think it was on social media. I reached out and I was like, you should come to the wealth experience and blah, blah, blah. She had just asked for help. I didn't know it, but she was ready to do something different. I responded and became the help. But then the way asking for help and being the help works, when you ask for help and you become the help, then you also get help. Then you give. So she came and she gave. And then she said, go. And so as she started to go, her financial platform and helping businesses and all these things that she had been doing, it's the same exact thing for every single person who is right here in the wealth experience. But there are a couple things that you have to do and that you have to be very clear about. Desiree said focus. Absolutely. Dr. Jazz talked about restoring, but then she talked about restitution, getting the stuff back that we never got before. Let me tell you what you're going to have to do to get there. I want everybody to understand this terminology, non-negotiable principles. What are your non-negotiable principles? And in determining your non-negotiable principles, you then have to focus. What did Ingrid say? This 10-year goal, start at the top and then work your way down to where you are. And then that's going to be the plan, how to get there. So you start at the 10-year. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 20 years? Every decade. And then you work your way backwards and then you find yourself in the destination and then you move forward. But you must have non-negotiable principles. So let me explain one of my non-negotiable principles. For example, first, you must break all the rules. That's why I love Dr. Jazz opening up with "B better have my money." I love it. That's a rule breaking thing. I love it. You got to break the rules. Whose rules are you trying to follow? Are you trying to follow the rules of your husband, your wife, your mother, your father? You trying to follow somebody else's rules? No, you got to break the rules. Nobody who's great has ever become great following the rules. It's the reason why I didn't want to be a pastor. I was like, now y'all know I'm not church material. Oh, you understand that, right? Because I don't do anything, none of those formalities. You got to break the rules. Now, breaking the rules does not mean break the law. Follow the law. Don't call me from jail talking about, Lynn, I came to Wealth Vision 2020 or the Wealth Experience Beyond 2020, and I went and broke the law and now I'm in jail. Don't call me because I can't help you. Follow the law, stand in truth, stand in integrity. The next thing that you have to do with your non-negotiable principles, you have to decide that your life is not a democracy. It's a dictatorship. Everybody should write that down. This is a dictatorship. It's not a democracy. Nobody gets to vote and decide, oh, I'm going to be this, or no, are you going to be that, or no, I'm going to, no. This is a dictatorship. I am who God says I am, and that's all I'm going to be. And that's all I'm going to go for. That's all I'm going to aim for. That's all I'm going to strive for. Nothing else is in my way. Desiree said that you have to keep speaking those things. I shared a couple years ago, speak what you seek until you see what you say. Speak what you seek until you see what you say. That's a dictatorship. Let me tell you who doesn't get a vote. Your children. Let me tell you who doesn't get a vote. Your spouse. Let me tell you who doesn't get a vote. Your mother, your father, your friends, old people in your life. Those people don't get a vote. Now, if you approach this from asking for help and being the help and then give and go, you will incorporate all of the things that are important to you in your life. And I'm a little different. I don't talk about personal and business. I only have one life. And it's all one. I can't separate me personally from the business. Whoever I show up in business, that's who I am personally. That's who I am financially. It's all harmony for me. You become the dictator. If you're going to be a speaker in 2020, join the speaker training. If you're going to be an author, join the author collaboration circle or take the class How to Write a Book. If your business is going to be profitable, get in the Bottom Line Boot Camp. If you want to make sure your business is right, make sure you're taking How to Protect Your Business. Whatever it is, be the dictator. Nothing gets to come in and tell you, oh no, you're not going to be a speaker because you don't sound right. Or no, you're not going to do this because this isn't there. You're not going to, no, become the dictator. And when doubt says you can't do it, you say this is a dictatorship. And I say I can. When despair says, you know what, it's not going to work out, you say this is a dictatorship, and I say that it is going to work out. When your goals get off track and you don't think it's going to happen, you be a dictator and say, oh no, devil, you have to get behind me because I'm moving beyond 2020. Whatever it is, become the dictator. So we're going to open it for Q&A, and then let's go. I guess we have to ask the questions. Okay, someone said, hi, Dr. Lynn, MC Light, and Ingrid. Can we purchase a decade planner? If so, where can we purchase it? Thank you. God bless.
I love it. I love it. You can go directly to ingridlevon.com.
That was easy.
That was easy. But and one last thing, Lynn, that when you talk about being a rule breaker, this is an opportunity for people to create their own position.
Mm-hmm.
You are not doing what other people have done in the past. God is calling us to be different, to do different, and we can't be afraid to do it. Who would have thought that a little Black girl that worked in corporate as a controller would be in a space with teaching and supporting and helping folks from all over the world run a profitable business. That's not something you see every day. Who would have thought that another little Black girl from Chicago that had 15 jobs would be managing and running a multiple $1 million conglomerate with a legend? We are called to do things that people have not ever seen before.
Right.
That's New Wealth University. That is the Decade Planner. That is Des. That is all of us. And what you see here is also what you can be. But it starts with a plan. It starts with performing. Don't get this good information and not execute.
Right.
It's real fun to be on a webinar for 9 hours, right? You might see something, you might glean something, but now what? Now what? Execute, get the help, claim your market share, steal some market share, become who you want to come in the marketplace today, because somebody's waiting on you. Somebody's waiting on us to step up. Where we are today is not where we're going. I'm almost scared to see where we're going to be at next year, because we are not where we are today. Last year, last October, where were we, Dr. Lynn, talking about this?
Yeah.
I think you often say there was not one class being taught in New Wealth University October of last year.
So there was not one class. And now we've taught over we've taught literally at this point, I think hundreds of thousands of people.
Hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Yep.
In less than 12 months. In less than 12 months. But guess what? It took a decade to get here. It took a decade of work, and it went by really fast. So if you start to plan now, you can make that happen.
Well, all right.
Any more questions? Do we have any more questions? I see lots of folks. I am retired. Okay, so someone says, I am retired. So how do I plan? I'm retired. So how do I plan?
You look at, just because you're retired doesn't mean that you don't still have goals and aspirations. As a matter of fact, retirement is the perfect time, because this is your second act. You get a chance to reinvent your entire being right now. So what does that look like? What is your next purpose? Who do you want to serve? What do you want to change? And once you figure out that, because here's the thing, it's not about the money. The money will come. It's about serving and changing. When you're serving and changing, God will make a way for whatever needs to happen. So what does that look like? Who do you want to serve? Who do you want to change? Who do you want to be in this second act of your life, which most of us can't wait to be in that position? And from there, you get the help you need if you identify spaces that you have a need for help. What does that look like? But I love retirement. Come on, lady, you got this.
That was a great answer. Thank you. Dr. Lynn, how do you live your life like it's a dictatorship if your spouse wants to act like your life is a democracy?
Ooh.
I'm going to tell you all a story.
Oh, goodness.
And first, let me say this to everybody. Whatever you are afraid to lose, you've already lost.
Say that again.
Whatever you are afraid to lose, you have already lost it. It's not yours.
That's right.
So the first thing is, I'm not afraid to lose anything. Do I want a marriage? Absolutely. Do I absolutely love my husband? Yes, I do. I am a marrying kind of woman. If I would be married, if something happened and I would have a husband. I enjoy this kind of a relationship, but I'm not afraid to lose it. I don't want to lose it. But see, fear does not produce anything that faith will give you in your life. If you're afraid to lose it, you have already lost. So when it was time for us to expand, I think it was Desiree who said, in order for you to get where you're trying to go, you must know where your current destination, to get to your destination, you have to know your current location. My current location was Chicago. Up until that point, I had traveled the world. I was running Russell Simmons Company from Chicago. I'd fly back and forth from Chicago to New York to go have my meetings with Dr. Ben or Mayor and the team and so on and so forth. And that's what I did. After year 3 of working with MC Lyte, it was very clear that not only what we had created, that it was going to manifest. I know she didn't see it at the time, but I always saw this. I always saw all of it. Back in, for those of you who are taking the Master Achievement Plan, if you're in the Entrepreneurs Academy, and this is why you have to create that vision of perfection. Mm-hmm. I knew we'd be here. I said it 20 years ago when I was living from check to yesterday. Okay, now y'all know what that is. That means before you got paid, you was broke, and after you got paid, you was still broke. You ever been in that situation? Your account was negative before and after you got paid. Come on.
Spent it on myself.
Yeah. So by the time I knew in year 3, I already knew it was gonna happen. I just didn't know when. It was very clear. I had to go west, like the movie, The Book of Eli. Denzel Washington. He couldn't even see, but he knew he had to go west. Mm-hmm. And he got west. And I mean, that movie brings tears because I felt it felt like my journey, that I had to go west to deposit the book of truth, the book of life into the entertainment industry. And I knew I had to be here. So I came home from a business trip, told my husband, now I am loud, rowdy, and outrageous. My husband is quiet, soft-spoken, God-fearing. I couldn't have asked, prayed for a better husband. But I came home from a business trip and I said, we got to move to California. I said, I'm going to die. I literally felt like I was going to die in Chicago. Mm-hmm. He said he didn't want to go. And the reason why he didn't want to go was because he didn't know what anything was. So first of all, you got to recognize crazy when it show up, because it might show up in your spouse, your children. That's why I said, this is a dictatorship. I said, baby, that's what they have navigation for. If we move to California, you're not going to have to worry about getting lost because cars have navigation now. After that excuse, then it was another excuse. Then it was another excuse. Then it was another excuse. And I was like, I'm going. The end.
I'm out.
I'm going. Mm-hmm. So finally, my father called. Now, my grandmother raised me. My father wasn't around, but I get all of my entrepreneurial, all of that comes from my dad. So I'm on the phone with my father. First, I'm like, wow, my dad's calling me. It's the middle of the day. Like, what's going on? He starts off with something about, well, you know, I'm not trying to get in the middle of your business. And so I looked at the phone, put it on speaker, because then I'm going to have to tell him off too. This is a dictatorship. Mm. And he wants to tell me he doesn't want to see me break up my family and I got a good husband. I said, well, you call my good husband and tell him we're going to California. That's what you tell him. Okay? Because I'm leaving. The end. Now, what I also had to do was help my husband and my children, and then my family. My grandmother was still in Chicago. We had to talk about the vision.
Yes.
And how everybody had a role in the vision if they wanted one. Mm. Mm-hmm. So when I started to speak to my husband about the vision, and if we go to California, I can do this and it will expand your, doing security and other things. And let me tell you now, all he on, first of all, half the time I want to jump in his videos that he put on Facebook and Instagram. and say, now, sir, I thought you didn't want to come because you didn't know what anything was. He is on the rooftop deck. He is barbecuing and grilling lobster every day. And every time it snows in Chicago, he teasing everybody. But this is the one that didn't want to go.
Sometimes people know what's best for you.
Yeah.
When you don't. Or
So,
you can't see.
And oftentimes, if you already know and you see the vision, I think Dr. Lynn said it best. You have to show them what their role is, because let's be honest, there might be some men on here, but guess what? Sometimes we have to show them better than we can tell them.
Yep.
And that means we have to act like we know what we're doing so that they can trust it.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they don't.
Yeah. And let me tell you this. It wasn't just my husband. It was my kids too. So finally, okay, we're moving. So I told the girls, so here's the deal. You have to decide whose system you on. And once you decide whose system you on, you follow that system. It became very clear to me why I was in the presence of people like Russell Simmons and Dr. Benjamin Chavis and Felicia Butterfield and Mayor John Ha and MC Light. It became very clear to me why I was in their stratosphere, because I'm one of them. They're not. If you are in the presence of greatness, it's because you're great. So what I had to do is follow the great system. I had to follow the greatness system.
Follow the greatness system.
I'm not following the system of the people I grew up with in the projects. I'm not following the system. I'm following the greatness system. And the greatness system says, speak what you seek until you see what you say. The greatness system says, when you speak life into your dreams. The greatness system says, show thyself, study to show thyself approved. The greatness system says, you have to believe what it is that you want. And then you have to go and keep moving. That's what the greatness system says. So once you see a system, then you follow that system. You take those classes, you get in that school, you get that training, Desiree saw the greatness system in John C. Maxwell, so she got his training. Other people who want to transform from out of their personal issues or whatever and become great in their life, they will follow her system. Those who want to become wealthy, wisdom, expansion, assets, leadership, transformation, health, will follow this system. So my children had to follow the same system. They didn't want to come. I said, listen, try out for the cheerleading team before you get to school in September. Try out in May. I'm going to find out, send in a video. So that way, when you move to LA and you start high school, you will not be starting as students who don't know anyone. So they did that. They made the team. They got here in May. They were pouting and shouting. They were frowning and clowning. They were so irritated and so upset. And I had to tell them, listen, I know what's better for your life than you do. I said, have I ever led you wrong? I had to ask my husband that. I had to ask my children that. Now, how could I be so clear about that? Have I ever led you wrong, MC Light?
No.
Have I ever led you wrong, Ingrid?
No.
I don't lead people wrong. So I'm not going to lead my children wrong. And I remember when I asked them that question, the look, I said, well, if I've never led you wrong, trust me. But what each and every one of us has to do, if you are here and you want a dictatorship, then you have to be trustworthy. You got to do the work. They saw me doing the work. They saw me coming from behind the 8 ball, spending too much money, all of those things. So that's what it's going to take for you as well. You got to do the work. You've heard that so many times today. When Dr. Jazz talked about restoration, you got to do the work. When Desiree said, people claim they want more, but they settle for less because they don't want to do the work. Everybody who comes to Wealth University, no, it's not all about money, but money is like oxygen. You got to have it.
You gotta have it.
Got to have it.
And here's the quote that Dr. Jazz said at the Wealth Experience, which really propelled me into doing the decade planner. Think in decades, plan in years, work in months, live in days.
There you go.
Decades, plan in years, work in months, live in days. And if you follow that system, you have no choice but to be successful, because that is the system of success that's sustainable and repeatable.
Okay. I think we now have to, so thank you all for those questions. We're going to put a link right before the business pitch competition, or right after the business pitch competition. We're going to put the link in this event where you will not only be able to get this shirt, the Wealth Vision 2020 shirt and Moving Beyond 2020, but you will also get a decade planner, a strategy session with Desiree Clay. And we've also got something really, really special for those to get the financial thing on track going into Beyond 2020. But we'll put that as the Beyond 2020 game plan kit, and we'll put the link to that at the end of the business pitch competition. But before we move into where we have to go next, I'd like for our winner, we are not only giving away $2,500 every single Tuesday on the Business 911 meeting during the month of October, but we also had a previous Tax Talk Thursday competition. And, you know, this whole idea of living your life like a business so you can pay less taxes. It doesn't mean you make $700 million and pay no taxes. That ain't what we're talking about. We're talking about paying less taxes, okay? Down to the legal limit. But I want to be a billionaire and pay my portion of taxes. I'm not looking to pay zero, because then the world can't run, okay? Mm-hmm. And Alicia May won the competition. So Alicia, we wanted to present your winnings to you right here before the world. And if you can just tell us what living your life like a business has meant, and, you know, just some of the things from Tax Talk Thursday, that would be great. But we wanted to present you with your check. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was really a surprise. I struggle with social media, but I try to do what I can do. I have learned so much from you since I've joined Wealth University, becoming a Wealth Ambassador. I love numbers. I'm an accountant. And so all the information that I'm learning from you is such great information. I'm able to apply it to my business and to also grow personally.
Yay! I'm so, first of all, let me just say this to you and to every Wealth Ambassador or Entrepreneur Academy member. And for those of you who are neither, you came to this event because you saw it on social media. Once you put your eye on something, don't take your eye off the prize. Mm-hmm. And for me, Alicia, presenting you with this $1,000 grant for your business, in order for you to get where you're trying to go, you're going to have to sacrifice some things. I had to give up people. As Ingrid said, I had to give up relationships. I had to give up thinking. Like Light said, I had to give up ego. It's not about you. It is just not, it's not about me. It's not about any of us. What gives me the greatest, I think, pleasure, you know, just in general, but really in this moment, is I don't know if you understood the very first time you reached out and you took a class and you became a Wealth Ambassador, that not only were you going to get out of it the information, but that you will be poured back. God will pour back into you and replace what you spent. Okay. Yeah. Replace what you spent, but then really become this, we're like now this team. You know, everybody's lifting everybody up and everybody's growing and everybody's moving. And it is my goal to see each and every one of your businesses prosper. It is my goal to present you all are talking about the wealth experience. We're talking about having a wealth fest. Okay. And at the Wealth Fest, All of our businesses will be on display. People will come to learn how to do whatever. They will get opportunities to grow, to expand, to bring their children, to enjoy truth, love, light, entertainment, the Wealth Fest. So for me, this is an introduction to that, Alicia. And Ingrid, I know you've had Alicia in classes and things like that. Anything you want to share with her? I think we lost light. And then we're going to have Dr. Vicky come on and give us our closing. Oh, I think we have 15 minutes. Okay, we got 15 more minutes. So yeah,
First of all, congratulations. And you are already a woman after my own heart because you love numbers. And you know, I have been doing numbers since I was about 6 years old. But here's what I'm going to say. Take that $1,000 grant and multiply it by 10. I want to hear you come back and say that $1,000 was invested into my business and I made $5,000 in profit. That's what I want to see. And if you need some support, you just email me because we can make that happen.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So sorry I went missing, ladies. I didn't charge my, I didn't have my charger next to my computer.
So
that's okay. It's the Wealth Experience. It's all good.
So we are moving on
to Dr. Vicky now, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so we have to close. So Dr. Vicky's going to give us some closing thoughts. Everybody, ask for help. The master plan for Beyond 2020 and building multiple streams of income, as many of them as you can think of. Ask for help, be the help, give, and then go.
That's right.
Anything that you're afraid to lose, you've already lost. Mm-hmm. Focus, know your non-negotiable principles, and live your life like a dictatorship.
Remember to come back after Dr. Vicky. We're going to have a short break. Come back at 2:00 for our business pitch.
Yeah, so we have a business pitch competition at 2:00. Mm-hmm. We're going to pick the winner. The winner's going to get their $2,500 grant. And after that, we are then going to share with you the very special link with all of the beautiful things that you can get. So that not only will you be a part of the Wealth Experience in the way that we have it at the beginning of the year, but so that you can start to count down the days for the fourth quarter strastrategy so we can start the year off at the top. So thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, ladies.
Thank you, Alicia.
See you a little later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, good afternoon. This has been a powerful day already, and I am so blessed to come on and offer just some words so that we can kind of wrap up this gift of today. It's a beautiful day. It's the day the Lord has made, and in spite of all the crazy and chaos going on in the world, we get to choose to rejoice. We get to choose to invest in who we are. We get to choose better for ourselves. I want to just say thank you to Dr. Lynn and to Light and to all of the Wealth Experience family. I have on my Wealth Experience and, t-shirt. And Dr. Lynn, I was thinking, I don't really think any of us knew what Wealth Vision 2020 meant when we got these shirts the last time we were together in person. And when I was getting dressed for today, I looked at the shirt and I was like, wow, Vision 2020. Who knew? Who knew that the year 2020 would be what it is? And who knew that God had prophetically given you the apostolic mantle to give us a blueprint to get through this year? So before I pray, I have some thoughts. I want to also say thank you to Dr. Jazz. Your impartation was powerful. Desiree, amazing. I'm so proud of you. I think she's everybody's little sister. She has been amazing. And a special thank you also to Yvonne McNair and her team just for who you are and what you're doing and how you're able to support us as we bring this to the world. What I want to share is a couple things, and then I'm going to close with prayer. The first thing I want to say is my favorite scripture is Job 22, which simply says in the Amplified Version, agree with God quickly so you can have peace and good come to you. I'm going to say that again. Agree with God quickly so you can have peace and good come to you. Why am I sharing that? If you are with us today, God has deposited some things through all of the speakers, through the information that you've heard. Agree with what you've heard quickly so you can have peace. If you're frustrated, it's because there are some areas in your life where you haven't agreed with God. Quickly, when you do that, the promise of God is peace. And then when you get that peace, good will come to you. I want to offer to you as we prepare to move beyond 2020. First, that you activate your faith. Scripture says in Hebrews 11:1, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. It is the evidence of what we cannot see. Verse 6 says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. And he or she who comes to God, first you've got to believe that he is God and a rewarder of them who diligently seek him. Hebrews 4:2 says this, the words that they heard, and we've heard some word today, we've heard some wisdom today, did not profit them because they did not mix what they heard with faith. You got to mix what you heard today with faith. Then you have to add focus to that. When you add focus to your faith, it creates in you a capacity of fortitude. It gives you the strength to be consistent, to be courageous, to make some tough decisions that Dr. Lynn, mentioned earlier in the session just before. But this is the thing, you get to pick your tough. You get to pick your tough, right? You can choose the tough of struggle and doing the things that you've always done that have gotten you to where you are. Or you can choose the tough of learning something new, stepping out of your comfort zone, and moving forward into a place of what we all desire, which is fulfillment, a life of significance, impact that leaves a legacy. I'm going to pray, but before I pray, this scripture came to me, the Message translation, right before I came on, it came to me, and it's Amos chapter 9. And it says, yes, indeed, it won't be long now. Things are going to happen so fast, your head will swim. One thing fast on the heels of the other. You won't be able to keep up because everything is going to be happening at once. And everywhere you look, there will be blessings. I know it's crazy in the world right now. I know it's chaos all around us. But God can give us peace that surpasses all understanding and guard our heart and our mind. You know what does that? Wisdom. And wisdom is the principal thing. So in all of your getting of information and knowledge, now you are in a place where you can have understanding. It says blessings like wine pouring off the mountains and hills. God said, I'll make everything right again for my people. So I don't care what it looks like. I don't care where you currently are in your life. There is more to your life than where you currently are. There is something beyond 2020 that is going to bless you. Be not weary in well doing, Galatians 6:9. For in due season, if you don't quit, you're going to reap. So before the day ends, I want to offer to you, I want to challenge you, write your vision. Write the vision, write it. Get clear on your vision, because without a vision, scripture says you perish. So write your vision, make it plain so that you have a blueprint, so that you have some strength, so that your second wind can come and propel you forward with fortitude into a place of fulfillment to unlock favor on your life. Psalm 5:12 says that God surrounds the righteous with favor as a shield. I don't care what is going on outside of you, outside of your home, outside of your community. Listen, Psalm 119 says, great peace have they that love the law of God, and nothing shall offend thee. Keep your faith activated, focus, know that you're moving forward with fortitude to a life of fulfillment, surrounded by favor. So, Father, we thank you for this day that you have made. We decree and we declare blessings upon blessings. We thank you because no good thing will you withhold from us as we continue to walk upright before you. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you that in the multitude of counsel there is safety. So we thank you for this counsel of the wealth experience. Thank you for Dr. Lynn. Thank you for MC Light. Thank you for the sisters that have come together to create this community. We thank you for Dr. Jazz and for Desiree. We thank you for Ingrid and for Serena and for Deidre. God, we thank you. We give you glory. We give you honor. We give you praise. Thank you for Michelle, God. Thank you for the gifts that you have brought together to create this multitude of counsel where people in the world can find safety. Thank you for exponential growth. Thank you for accelerated manifestation in every area of our lives. I thank you for every woman who is a part of this event today. I thank you for Yvonne and her team. God, I thank you for perpetual and unexpected blessings in all of our businesses, in all of our lives, in all of our families. God, I speak to anyone today who is lingering in disappointment, who is lingering in discouragement, who is lingering on the verge of depression. I decree and declare life. I decree and declare good health. I decree and declare the mind of Christ, that whatsoever things are pure, lovely, just, honest, if there be any virtue or praise, God, that we continue to think on these things. Now unto him who is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we can ask or think, according to the power that is working in us. So God, open our hearts, open our eyes, open our minds, give us supernatural understanding, create in us capacity to learn things we've never learned before, to understand new insights and strategies that we've not been exposed to before. I decree and declare grace that is sufficient, favor that surrounds us, mercy that is new every day. God, I thank you. I thank you that our steps are ordered by you and that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Every tongue that rises against us in judgment, you shall condemn, for this is our inheritance because we love you. God, I thank you that all things are working together for our good because we're called according to your purpose. God, I thank you because now unto him who is able to keep us from falling and to present us faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. I decree and declare joy in your life, in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, because the joy of the Lord is our strength. God, we give you glory for this day. We give you honor. We give you praise. And I thank you. I thank you that we can be confident in this very thing, that because you've begun a good work in us, you're able to perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Thank you that beyond 2020, you're going to blow our minds. Thank you that we are safe. Thank you that we are secure. Thank you that wherever our feet trod, we can decree and declare blessings upon blessings upon blessings, not just for us, but God creating us an overflow that lives long beyond our time here on earth, so that we can transmute generational cursings into generational blessings and leave an imprint that people will know that you were great in us and equipped us to be great in the world. Thank you for unlocking gifts, for unlocking anointings, for unlocking skills, for unlocking opportunities, for unlocking doors that we didn't expect. We'll give you glory for it. In Jesus' name, we do pray. Amen. God bless you, everyone. Mix what you've heard today with faith. Go out and be great. Peace.